Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. I am tired, so no intro. There's going to be another season of Jordan Peele's Unsolved Mysteries. In fact, there already is. Not Unsolved Mysteries, I'm sorry. Jordan Peele's fucking Twilight Zone. I don't understand. Because when I watched,
because
I watched one,
two seasons of it. They contracted 2 seasons.
But you can always fucking tap out. You know, if it's that bad, which it was.
Maybe they're hoping that they can clean up some of the problems in the second season. I'm telling you, like, I don't even really know if the show was bad because I never actually watched any of the shows. I didn't get past Jordan Peele's intro.
I keep expecting Key to show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Keegan Michael Key to show up and like kick the whiskey glass out of his hand and bitch slap him. And
you know, it's just like, oh, this ain't working, man.
He looks so uncomfortable. His eyes are so vacant, and he looks like he's just like a fish out of water doing it. Like he's standing there uncomfortably in a suit, holding a snifter of brandy and a cigar that isn't lit or whatever. And he's like, you know, man is a complicated thing. And it's just like, oh my God, this is not working for me.
Yeah.
He's just too, I don't know, man. I don't even know. I don't know what's missing from it. I just think he was ill-fitting for. It's another example of somebody trying to replace an iconic announcer.
Yeah,
and it going belly up. Yeah, look at the like. Just fucking blow that picture up. Zoom in on that bitch. Look at the look in his face.
Yeah, it's like
he looks like I shouldn't be here.
I don't
know how to wear
belong
this
here.
suit. I don't know how to be the type of person that I'm supposed to be at the beginning of these episodes, so I'm trying my hardest to look mysterious, yet ominous, yet knowledgeable. I'm really trying, guys. Is this the look? Is this the position my hand should be? Is this how I should cross my leg if I'm a mysterious time-traveling announcer for a show about alternate dimensions? Is this how I'm supposed to... Is this what I'm supposed to do, guys? Hey, anybody? What do you think? Can the director give me some feedback on this? Is this the look? Does my salt and pepper goatee add gravitas to what I'm doing?
Oh yeah, the gravitas is there. I want to see. Yeah. Hold on, let me see if I can find any of his new intros from the new season.
Yeah, we can watch one.
There's a compilation of the first season ones that I used on Ideology.
Yeah, but I want to see if he's gotten any better since then. I kind of doubt he hasn't.
Well, I mean, look, the first season of some shows is not the best season. I mean, I don't know. Let me go look at the IMDb rankings for the last season of Twilight Zone. They did Twilight Zone.
Fair enough.
IMDb, because I mean, like, look, season 1 of The Next Generation. People like, oh, had a lot of problems. All right, 5.7. That's not good. It's not great. Season 2. Let's look at season 2.
Well, yeah, I want
season 2. Season 2 do any better? Not
I mean,
really.
It's ongoing, right?
Yeah,
no, they
really.
released them all at once, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, yeah, 2 days right. It's all June 25th. It kind of seems like some of them people like meet in the middle, That's 7.2. Downtime 6.2, but none of them go above 7. So I mean, really, what it says to me is most of these are bad to like. Oh, that was okay. I mean,
but on top of
like,
yeah, I mean 7.2. That's not bad, but I mean,
yeah, I mean, like the original.
Yeah, it was definitely hit and
Zone
miss too.
Had a very obvious mix of bad ones, mediocre ones, and good ones.
yeah,
Right.
So,
but the problem is that there was a lot more per season there. This one, they're putting way more. They're putting way longer stories, and they're doing way less. So
see, that kills it for me. Like,
there's way more of an impetus for them to be really good if you're going to do it that way, and they're not.
Well,
so
one of the great things about the Twilight Zone and other episodic horror and sci-fi shows like The Outer Limits or Tales from the Crypt is that they were very limited in the amount of time that they had to present their concepts, and I love that. I love when you only have 20 minutes to introduce characters, concept, and resolution.
yeah,
because it creates these great bite-sized things. And when you run into a bad episode of the original Twilight Zone, you don't feel like you just got robbed of 45 minutes to an hour of your life. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, okay, that was like a lower end of mediocre episode. I'll have to remember that next time. Let's
that
go
one
on to the
wasn't
next
too
one.
good. Next, you know?
Yeah. You know what I mean? And you've got, like, you could watch 2 or 3 episodes of the original Twilight Zone in the time it takes to watch one episode of the new one.
Yeah, that's not good.
Like this, people just don't understand. Like, I don't get this, why we're getting better at making content on demand, but we're getting worse at making short, easy to consume, easy to connect with, in and out kind of like episodic TV shows where the universe resets at the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, we can't make things snappy again, but this seems like the time there's like to do that. If ever there was one, people's fucking attention spans now in comparison to when fucking the Twilight Zone were out are measurable in nanoseconds.
TV shows have gone this route, and if you watch TV shows, the evolution of them from like the 50s and 60s, the 70s, 80s, 90s, it just like the number of episodes gets smaller and smaller, and the runtime gets longer on the episodes that do exist. So it's like that's just been a trend for a while, and I've seen that like because even back in the 90s, it was like you look at the Next Generation. Oh, they have 25 episodes in a season, 24 episodes in a season, and now you're lucky if you get 10. I mean, Game of Thrones last season had 8 fucking episodes. Like,
yeah, but I mean that was they butchered that. They butchered the last season of that show. So that was one of the huge fucking problems that people had with the show is that like over the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, the pace accelerated so much with no warning.
Yeah, all of a sudden it was like fast travel and shit and.
Like, I know. It was like, now we're at this location. Now we're here. Now we're there.
You could just tell that the people writing the show, it's like, it was literally obvious that they were racing to the finish line to get done with it so they could move on to their next thing. It's just in the first fucking season of Game of Thrones, it takes the entire season for the kids to travel the King's Road from fucking Winterfell to King's Landing. It takes they spend the entirety of season 1 on the road and they arrive in the last 2 episodes. In the last 2 seasons of the show, somebody will be standing in Winterfell in one scene, and then they'll jump cut, and they'll be walking through a courtyard in fucking King's Landing. And it's like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Or they'll be on a ship or something. They'll be on a ship in the Iron Islands or something, talking about how they need to send a diplomat. The diplomat's there on the ship, and then in the next scene, the diplomat is in King's Landing.
You know, a movie that
8 months later. You know, a movie
that totally fucked me up, man.
Hey, I don't want to interrupt your thing, so let me just finish this because it has to do with Game of Thrones.
Yeah, go ahead.
The fucking perfect thing that symbolized that season to me is like. They have the 2 dragons, right? I think they've won that battle or whatever. They're gonna go fucking destroy King's Landing or whatever. And it's like you're like, yeah, they're gonna go there. And then you just see the other dragon go. The dragon gets killed by one of those things and just falls into the sea and is like, that dragon's now dead. And then at the final episode or whatever the fuck it was, the second to last episode, the other dragon basically says plot armor so thick it's like, well, we have to have a dragon in the end. So like they have 50 of those things firing at it. No, and like, nope, can't do anything.
Yeah.
That's just that fucking show in a nutshell. It's like it just went so far off the fucking rails. It just crashed and fucking burned into nothing. It's despised now. I've never seen a TV show blow up. Like like I remember like when Dexter and Breaking Bad, they ended this pretty much the same time. And a lot of people did not like the ending of the last season of Dexter. It was like, oh, it was bad, whatever. But no one was like, now that just Dexter's erased now. Dexter's canceled. Dexter's fucking done. Like, people were just disappointed. Like, dude, you had a show like Game of Thrones. People were so fucking disappointed. They disavowed the show.
That scene with the dragon made no sense. She was flying with these dragons way up high above the like ships that she was escorting, looked like little dots. And then all of the sudden, one of her dragons gets hit by one of those things, and there's like a fleet that somehow from 20,000 feet in the air on a dragon
wasn't noticeable.
She didn't see until one of them got hit. It's like, what? And then, like you mentioned, that last scene. So we've established that these things are really good at killing dragons.
Yeah.
But that last scene, she just effortlessly rides her dragon through a hail of these fucking things.
Yeah, no problem.
It was terrible.
That was the main dragon, you know?
It was lazy. Like those last two fucking episodes were so lazy. And it wasn't the fault of like the cinematographers or the special effects people. They all did brilliantly. The actors, like I don't blame them.
No, the actors did a good job. Everyone did a good job except for the showrunners and the.
I felt bad for the actors, honestly. I felt bad for Peter Dinklage having to rape his character.
Oh my god, yeah, I felt so bad because he was just as good as always, but unfortunately, they fucking. Oh my god, the writer. Well, I don't even know if it's the writer's fault because I feel like the showrunners are just like wrap it up in the next 8 episodes. Like, oh shit, how are we gonna do that? Just 8 episodes. You got do it. We gotta get. We're trying to do Star Wars. But their Game of Thrones sucked so bad that Star Wars was like, we don't want you no more.
When they got fucking Peter Dinklage to go up and make the case for Bran, I was like, this is like the most fucking harrowing thing. Like, I can't imagine ever being in a position like I have to fucking make an argument for Bran. Like,
I kept waiting for Tyrion to crack up in the middle of that speech. I kept waiting for him to say,
"Who has a better story than
among us?" There is one among us who fits all this criteria, and it is Bran. And then just like the comedic pause, and then just kidding. You know what I mean? I thought that was what was going to happen, but it didn't.
Dude, that's why I like getting in other people's heads because I like just the stuff of what you just said. Like I'm in Paul's mind, it's all like just expecting this big laugh, and it's like I already wish the Paul universe of Game of Thrones had happened because like that would have nailed that moment.
Dude, if the showrunners had handed the last 2 seasons of that show, even if I had the same restrictions of like it's got to be wrapped up, dude, the show would have kicked fucking ass. It still would have been fucking like controversial because I'll tell you who I would have made king.
Who's that?
The fat guy. The only one of them in the show that actually had a good fucking heart, the bravest among them, the only one to like really face down his fears and become a warrior, become a protector. Samwise, not Samwise, Samuel Tarly.
It's basically the same though.
Say Samwise, dude. Come on.
I even tweeted it, dude. I tweeted like a week before the final episode. I was like, a picture of Sam standing there in his like, Knights Brotherhood or whatever the fuck it is, the Brotherhood of the Ravens or gear or whatever. He's standing there like, and I wrote like Samuel Tarly, first of his name, protector of the realm, savior of the 7 kingdoms. You know what I mean? I'm just like, this is what it just made sense to me. Like I was going to have Daenerys and Jon look like they were going to come together and rule together, but then be torn apart by the differences between their character types. Daenerys wants to be more fiery and she's quicker to kill someone, and Jon is way more measured like his father was, and that they grind against one another, maybe even have a battle that ends with them deciding like, look, neither one of us can do this. Neither one of us is the right person for this job. They come to the realization that like, if one of us takes this throne, it's just going to be more of this. It's going to be more war, more horribleness. And then they fucking go through the motions of trying to decide who it is. And they even consider Bran. Maybe we can even have my moment in there where Tyrion makes the speech and he's like, it's Bran. And everybody's like, he's like, just kidding. It's not Bran. It's Samuel Tarly, the biggest heart here. The only one here that knows real compassion. Yep.
I'm still on I mean, even though they fucking nerfed the fucking shit out of him, I'm still on the team of the Night King should have won, dude. Destroy all the
that would have been another way to end it. Another way to end it would have been for the Night King to literally just like win the final battle with his Draco liches and shit.
All right. Let's stop yammering about fucking Game of Thrones, which no one cares about.
Move the topic along in a Bantersode.
Yes, I do.
About Game of Thrones.
Yes, I do. I fucking let Scotty fucking do his stupid Game of Thrones digression. Like that hasn't been discussed enough. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. That's where the fucking real money is.
Nobody's ever pooped on this movie before. Yeah, let's be the first people to point out how bad this movie is.
Well, I don't just.
Hey guys,
it'd be easy to just point out how bad this movie is. That's not why I'm fucking doing this. All right.
Okay,
I'm doing this because this pertains to the whole fast travel thing you were talking about.
Okay.
This movie does something early on that fucks me up really bad. And I don't know. I haven't watched it in a long time. I watched it recently. But before that, I hadn't watched it in a long fucking time. And the reason I watched it is because this movie is gaining like a cult following in recent years. Like I've had so many people tell me, you got to watch Halloween 3 again, but watch it not in the mentality of it being a Halloween movie. You got to watch it like it's its own standalone movie, you know? Don't even think about it as a Halloween movie. Because that's why you didn't like it. Because you were like, where's Michael Myers? Where's this? Where's that?
Right.
So I did that. The movie still sucked. Just to, spoiler alert. But beginning of the movie, there's a guy on the run from the evil Silver Shamrock Corporation, which is like a secret witch coven or whatever. So he's on the run. And you see a scene with him. He hides in this auto yard kind of thing. And the robot dudes are chasing him and stuff. And one corners him and he outsmarts it and stuff. And, you know, he's still on the run. And then it shows a gas station where he's now hiding out. But when it shows the gas station, some appears on the screen and it says, 1 hour later. Right?
Okay.
1 hour later.
Okay.
So an hour has elapsed.
Right. There was no reason for that 1 hour later to be there. Because it was like clearly, like just the scene itself conveyed that time had passed. So there was no need for that. And I thought, well, that's a weird decision. I don't know why they struck a 1 hour later there. Like it'd be like if between every scene in a movie there was like a 20 minutes later. You know, 3 days later. They're like, you don't need that in a movie unless there's like some real need to convey the passage of time, like 1 year later or some shit. But anyway, for the rest of the movie, I kept it put me in the mindset of constantly wondering like how much time had passed between scenes.
Right.
And so then I started like the time, and then I realized how wonky the fucking time in the movie actually was. Like every fucking little time inconsistency, I was like, wait a minute. So they really fucked themselves on that. See, don't do something like that. And it made me realize too, like how one little strange decision can just like fuck a whole movie. Like, I'm not saying that reason alone is why the movie sucked or something, but that one tiny decision to put an unnecessary 1 hour later there totally fucked with my perception of time throughout the rest of the fucking movie in a bad way.
It goes to show you how, like, I think a lot of people think that it's easy to put together a script for a movie or whatever. You just blah, blah, blah. You got an idea. You write it down. Like, it goes to show you how much fucking thought has to go into presenting these things, because it really is the same problem. Once you've established a scale of time, if you're going to change that, you need to be very careful about how you do it, if you do it at all. Like, once you've gotten people used to time passing at a certain pace over the course of a movie or a show, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's one of the things Game of Thrones butchered the worst, really, in that later season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great example. What you just mentioned is another example of just not failing to establish the passage of time between scenes and how important it is for us to understand, either follow one character and understand that the time passed for him to go from one place to the other in the city or whatever the fuck, or establish a passage of time with the time of day. So it's daytime, it's nighttime, or a change in seasons. it's snowing outside and now the snow has melted. You know what I mean? Like you have to have some kind of fucking insinuation to people how much time has passed, and it's ham-fisted to just keep doing 8 months later, 2 weeks later. People are going to get fucking confused if you throw too much of that at them. You really have to find that happy medium, and if you don't, it fucks the whole thing up.
You just got to do it with the Quentin Tarantino, man. You write yourself into a corner, suddenly you go back or something, or you go forward. Doesn't matter.
I don't really feel. I mean, maybe that is how the genesis of that, but he is so careful about how he presents his Tarantino'd back to forward films.
Yeah, I mean, in interviews, he's literally.
That's
he
what
said that basically he writes himself into a corner and then he just I'll just time jump.
Right, but he skillfully did it.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely good at it. You can't deny that.
In so many of his movies, like the Kill Bill, both those movies, there's so much going back and flashbacks and different times. So I mean, like you can definitely do it in a movie. You don't have to stay in the same fucking time. You just gotta be careful how you do it. Like, but what you're saying is just like there's no need in a gas station to be like 1 hour later. Like, what, you still in the fucking gas station? Who gives a shit? Like, just show me in there. Show like the fucking sun coming up or something. Like, you know, it's kind of the old thing they always say in Hollywood: show, don't tell. If you have to fucking tell people, you're just insulting their fucking intelligence. Like, you think the audience is so dumb they don't know an hour has passed or time has passed? Of course they understand that.
Dude, you throwing up Halloween Season of the Witch reminded me of a kick-ass 90s movie franchise that nobody talks about anymore. There were 2 movies in the franchise.
So not much of a short-lived franchise.
What you guys know about this?
Warlock.
So I know about Warlock. I watched the original Warlock probably 3 or 4 years back. Now it's been a long time since I've seen Warlock 2, but it hasn't been that long since I saw the original Warlock.
Dude, Julian Sands or whatever.
Yeah.
He was like born for this role. This is such a cool movie, such an underrated flick. And it starts back in Salem during the witch trials.
Has a little bit of a Terminator vibe.
Kind of does, yeah.
He's
like the evil Terminator.
Well, I mean, the Terminator was pretty evil too, I guess. But
it wasn't evil. Terminator was just following orders. Well, I guess the Warlock is too. He's following orders from Satan, so he really is just the Terminator, but in a different form. But
it's still pretty cool.
No, it is. He escapes. They've got these cool like thumb locks on him and shit, and they've got all these ways that they like bind a witch or a warlock or whatever, and he manages to escape from them, kill a bunch of his guards, and then cast a spell to go forward in time. And he lands in present time. And one of the warlock hunters from back then follows him through the portal.
Yeah, and this movie is a great example of the budget of the movie was relatively low, even for the time, but they did a lot with it. And I don't know, it's a pretty fun fucking B movie, honestly.
It had a good soundtrack too. Like it had
the soundtrack actually is pretty dope.
It was that dun 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 dun. Like he had like a theme music. That
it definitely added some gravitas. And there's
I recognize the writer on this, the same dude. He's written a lot of shit. He did The Fugitive, Pitch Black, Riddick. So he's done a lot of things. That's probably. Oh, he also wrote Waterworld. So,
well, I mean, definitely an accomplished writer. I don't know that the writer was at fault for Waterworld being what it was.
Yeah,
that's not a movie that I watch and go, this failed because of poor writing. I mean,
by the way, there is a third Warlock movie. Although it does not involve Julian, whatever his name is,
Julian Sands. That's why I don't really count it. I knew that there was a third one, but like when they do that shit and they're just like, hey, it's Warlock, but we didn't get the guy. What is Warlock? Then I'm like, fuck you. It's how I feel about the Hellraisers that can't get Doug Bradley to put on the fucking Pinhead makeup again.
Don't want to.
It's like if you're gonna do another Hellraiser movie, don't put Pinhead in it, because I'm not gonna be happy with whatever fucking dork you choose. That's Doug Bradley's role. He's the only thing that's good about the fucking series. So don't recast him. Right? Do a fucking Hellraiser spinoff that doesn't have Pinhead in it.
Hellraiser.
Come up with your own, and that's kind of what they tried to do in the most recent one.
Oh man,
they tried to do this handoff because Pinhead is in the most recent one, like Hellraiser Resurrection or whatever the fuck it is. I can't remember the name of it. I did a review of it though. Yeah. And they try and do this handoff to this other Cenobite, the Auditor, I think he's called, and he has these sunglasses. He's got the round black sunglasses, but he's bald and no beard, and he's got cuts all over his face. I called him Cut Face Dirty Suit because I couldn't remember what his name was.
Let me see.
But yeah, it didn't work. The handoff didn't work, and then Pinhead comes back at the end anyway and just asserts his dominance and fucks up everybody. So it sucked.
Let's see, I'm at the Hellraiser wiki right now.
Yeah, the Pinhead in that movie was better than the Pinhead in the movie that preceded it.
Look, man, you can either make endless sequels or you can reboot the franchise. And we've seen in recent years horror reboots have largely gone pretty poorly. I mean, look at the Freddy reboot.
But it's like they're not even trying. If you look at that, I wish I could remember the names of them, but I just can't.
All right, so the most recent Hellraiser movie was Hellraiser Judgment.
Okay, yeah. So the Judgment Pinhead, he didn't hit it, but he got closer than the Pinhead in the movie that just preceded
Hellraiser Revelations. Basically.
Revelations Pinhead is the saddest, most bootleg, shitty Pinhead that you will ever fucking see.
So just to kind of emphasize that point, every Hellraiser movie up till that point had at least gotten a 5 or around there on IMDb. The lowest one other than that's a 4.2, but Hellraiser Revelations is a 2.7.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, the quality just goes to absolute shit, and it's really because Doug Bradley's not there. Doug Bradley as Pinhead, even though he's abused in a lot of the later movies and just kind of turned into a one-liner delivery machine, his presence alone is enough for people to go all right, well, it was a Hellraiser movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he still has that gravitas,
But you take him out of the equation, the movie better be fucking great. And you better just not recast Pinhead. Those are the rules that I hope they learn. If you want to keep the Hellraiser franchise going, you have to come up with a at least half-ass worthy successor to Pinhead. It really doesn't show in this.
And I'm just looking at this, and I'll be honest with you, this is if I saw this, no, this looks like a knockoff.
I'd be cool cosplay, bro. That's basically what I'm at.
But I'm telling you, you're seeing it all processed and cleaned up and shit, and it doesn't look anywhere near as bad live in the film. Find a picture of Pinhead from Revelations, TJ, since you're the one that's sharing screens. Or I
think Scotty is actually, but
oh, Scotty, yeah. Find a picture of him from within the movie.
Oh my god, he sucks so bad. Oh my god, I found it.
Oh no.
He literally looks like somebody. I called him, I think, in my big review of the Hellraiser series. I think I called him a 3rd grade math teacher.
Yeah, he does not. It doesn't matter. You put him in the suit. It's where the costume is wearing him at this point. You know what I mean? He ain't nailing it. He looks terrible. Okay, that's the fucking promo image. Oh my god, no, dude, he looks really like some.
Yeah, and there's actually 2 bootleg Pinheads. Click on that other one, that weird one at the end.
Do they have a comparison, TJ? They have. Oh no.
So this is he's one of the kids that finds the box, and this is his Cenobite form. So they're implying that he's going to be the new Pinhead.
Okay.
And in this movie, so he's done up like this in the movie.
All right. So what's the other one called? Judgment or something?
Judgment.
And you said the Judgment guy is a little better.
Yeah, he looks better and sounds better, but he's not Doug Bradley.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's not him, obviously.
No, that's not it. That's okay. There he is. That's actually a pretty good shot of him. This is what he looks like in the movie.
Okay. I mean, you know what?
Click down below. Go down below and click on the one where the collector's in it with him. Yeah, there he is again. That's another shot from the film. Click on that one. Guess this is them just in their makeup, taking a picture together. So, he doesn't. Yeah, that's actually Doug Bradley.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he looks better.
Okay, I will say that he looks about 10 times better than the other guy.
So he looks better, and he actually sounds better too. His voice, he approximates Doug Bradley's performance of Pinhead.
Right.
But he doesn't have the spark
Right.
He doesn't have that Doug Bradley
This is the same
performance.
thing we were talking about before we started rolling, where we're talking about how you can't replace Robert Stack on Unsolved Mysteries.
Right,
and you can't replace Rod Serling on fucking
Stop sharing, by the way.
Twilight Zone. Sure.
Okay.
You can't. This is like, it's hard. As these guys who fucking made these iconic performances either are old or die, but the franchise wants to continue. It's like, how do you do that? You know, you know, the answer is not always try to replicate them. In fact, it's usually not. Usually you have to kind of do something a little different.
It's the brilliance of a character like Jason, because Jason Voorhees, even though, you know, Kane Hodder's performance of him is iconic and there's a lot of body language and nuance to it.
But there's been a million people who played Jason, and most of them have done at least a serviceable job, you know?
Jason is a character that could be played as long as the tone is right. You could move him around. Michael Myers is the same thing. So Halloween and fucking Friday the 13th, they have no excuse. When their reboots suck, it's just bad writing, bad envisioning of a reboot for this franchise. But like Nightmare,
right?
You can't not have non Robert Englund Freddy is just bad. Even if you get a dude that you think like, yeah, he might be able to play a Freddy, like they did. They got the dude that played fucking I can't remember his name, but he played Rorschach.
And Watchmen. Yeah.
I know you're talking about. He's got the, and he was in Shutter Island.
Jackie Earl Haley, I believe his name is.
Jackie Earl Haley.
He's a good actor.
A good actor, not only a good actor, but he's got that really weird kind of presence that you would think might translate well into a Freddy reboot. Didn't.
Yeah, I did not watch
than a pancake.
He didn't have like Robert Englund's like sense of like fun, because like Freddy, I felt in the reboot was just a little too serious, and he just didn't have the same moments that Robert Englund had, where it's like he'd be scaring you and he'd be like, "I'm coming to get you, bitch." You know what I mean? Like
he was like Nightmare 1 Freddy. Nightmare 1 Freddy was way more like a boogeyman.
But even then, serious. He still had a very defined sense of humor, even in the first movie. Like, I mean, he was more like a little kid almost. Like in the first movie, he would do stuff like he'd just like lift up his shirt and like, watch this. He'd cut himself open and maggots would come out, and then he'd be like, hey, I am your boyfriend now, Nance. You know, like all that's from the first movie. He had a sense of humor. He had a sense of fun. And I get that I get that it went too far in later movies and he became almost like a cartoon character. And I get they were trying to bring him back to that scarier place. But you can't do that by totally sucking out all the humor, because some of that was inherent to the character. And I didn't watch the fucking remake, so I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. I could be totally... Maybe if I watched it, I'd love Jackie Haley's performance. But
I watched it because when I heard that actor, Jackie Earl Haley, I think you said his name was.
I believe that's right.
When I heard that they'd chosen him for the role, I was like, okay. Because I'd seen him in Watchmen as Rorschach at the time. Yeah. I'd seen him in Shutter Island as the guy that's locked up in the horrible mental ward that knows about his wife and blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. He was great in both of those movies, had this like really expressive, tortured face, a great gravelly voice. I was like, okay, cool. And I watched it and he was just horrible. He was horrible.
All right. Can we watch a scene?
We can watch like the fucking trailer probably and get away with it. I don't know about a scene.
Yeah, okay.
I think it'd be fine either way, as long as it's just limited.
I mean, I just wanted to get a fucking taste of what his performance is like. I mean, we don't have to necessarily watch too much. We'll
go ahead and kill our cam so you can...
let me just find an appropriate moment. Okay, so here's a moment where he's Freddy and he's coming along, and I'll just go ahead and I'll kill my cam and I'll share screen and we can just kind of take a real quick glance, just enough to get the flavor of the performance here.
Okay.
Answer me! No. Do you think you can bring the dead back to life? No. No! No! I didn't fucking think so.
Ooh. Okay. I see what's going on here. Okay.
Yep.
All right, then. Okie dokie,
So here's a picture that I think captures exactly what Freddy is.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that glint.
He's got a glint in his eye always of mischief and mirth. He's stylish as fuck. He's like a gunslinger. He stands like Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name.
Yeah.
But instead of wielding a gun, he's wielding this bladed thing. So it's always kind of out next to him, displayed and ready to go. But he has that swagger of that old West kind of gunslinger. He's debonair in a way, you know what I mean, or can be. But he's also insane, an insane dream monster that likes to morph into things and scare people. He's fucking great. But this portrayal of it, you can see what happens when they try and reboot it. They even got a talented fucking actor that could really get into the headspace of this type of character. And that's what came out.
Yeah, I mean, like, he just came across, and I mean, I know I'm judging a whole performance from one scene there, but he just came across like he's playing Freddy like a tough guy or something. Like,
it was
I'm fucking Freddy, bitch.
It's like,
it was Batman villain Freddy.
Yeah, like, what are you doing, bro?
It was Batman villain Freddy. It was like a comic book villain Freddy is how it was presented in the movie.
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah,
I don't recommend you do.
I'm not gonna. No. I don't want to. I don't want to. I've never wanted. That's why I haven't watched it, because I was just like, I don't want. Like, unless if I heard great things, like, man, he's great as Freddy or something, I probably would have watched it. But
I was willing to give it a chance, and I did.
Have you guys seen the Evil Dead reboot they did?
No. I just refuse.
Yeah, dude, that was. Let me look at that.
Wait. Yeah, yes.
The 2013
yes, I
Evil
have
Dead.
seen the 2013 Evil Dead where they make it like a basic bitch teen horror film.
Yeah, dude, it was astonishing.
They strip the entire, like, okay, think about the Evil Dead, the weird dark comedy of it, right?
Right.
The body horror of it, the one man versus this ancient evil kind of battle of it, right? Strip that away and make it a group of teens go to a cabin, and one by one they get picked off and turned into demons and kill each other, and they all get killed at the end, and one survives at the end.
Gotcha.
Paint by the numbers, dude. Because I remember that I was like, oh man, they're rebooting Evil Dead. That's when I just officially became done with these fucking reboots. I saw Evil Dead, and you're right, the original spirit. I'm not saying hey, just do a straight up, let's just fucking remake it, change nothing. Like, yeah, you can put your own spin on it, but like there was no spin put on it. Like, if anything, they just took everything away, used the name to fucking sell fucking tickets.
Reboots have worked.
Oh, they have.
The Christopher Nolan reboot of the Batman franchise was hugely successful, and a hugely successful reboot of a franchise that had gone totally cartoony.
Yeah, but Nolan actually has a creative vision. There's a difference there, and,
right.
And obviously the last of the trilogy, people have a lot of criticism of.
Because it sucked, but the first two that we got were pretty flawless films.
Yeah, Batman Begins. Yeah, Batman Begins, and was it The Dark Knight?
The Dark Knight. Yeah.
Yeah, those are both great movies. The last one, not so much, but I mean,
what are some other examples of reboots that have worked?
Like of any genre.
I guess the current Marvel reboot of Spider-Man's character.
But I don't even know if a character like Spider-Man, you could say it's a reboot, because like it's such a fucking iconic, long-lasting character that like there's just different iterations that are done in different generations.
All right, I can see that argument. I don't think it necessarily.
Well, was the original 1989 Batman a reboot because Adam West had done it in the 60s? You know what I mean? Or is it just I consider there being a difference between a reboot and a different adaptation of the source material.
Sure. I think when it moved from like a 60s TV show to the movie screen, that wasn't a reboot. That, like, I think really that fucking the first Batman film, the Michael Keaton Batman, was the establishment of the film version of Batman.
Right, but there was a Batman film in 1966 starring Adam West.
True.
Right,
in a different, in a much different style, though.
Right, that's fine.
Pow,
so yeah,
bang, pop.
You could look at the fucking Tim Burton Batman as a reboot of that. I think once Tim Burton left, we got another reboot.
Oh, I don't know if it's a Okay, well, there's a difference between is a reboot and a remake, right? Because
Yes.
the Coen brothers did a pretty good remake of True Grit.
Right. Yeah, but no, I don't consider that a reboot.
So we're
That's
talking
not-
a reboot
we're
is something
talking
like where
about,
they like
like-
relaunch a franchise.
You know
under
what a
different...
great reboot was? I want to look at the list, so I'm definitely cheating, but I think this is definitely, I definitely 100% agree with this. Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
That's a great fucking
and
way
I would,
of franchise.
and I would consider that a reboot. I would consider that like a complete restart of the franchise, and a complete new direction for it. So yeah, it fits the criteria, and it's fantastic for sure.
What do you think? In the same with the horror genre hill, the Hills Have Eyes. The remake.
I've seen the remake or reboot. I it's kind of a remake, I think, honestly, because all it does is update it to modern times, but it's the same story. It's the same bunch of people get marooned out in the boonies, and this mutant fucking incest family descends on them and eats them and kills them.
Yeah, the miners.
I have to say that neither version of The Hills Have Eyes is really all that great.
I liked it.
I recently watched the old one.
Oh, I watched the new one.
It's not a. I've watched the new one too. I watched the new one when it came out.
Sure,
but I recently rewatched the old one. It's definitely better than the new one. But it's not a movie I'm going to go back to a whole bunch of times. Like, I don't have the reverence for it that.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I would say I actually slightly prefer the remake, but I don't really think either of them is all that great.
You know what I forgot about the remake is that it kind of has a conservative bent to it. Because like they have the dad kind of character. Of course he gets killed, but it's like, yeah, that guy's a Democrat. He don't like guns. He doesn't have a bunch of guns like us. And then in the end, the guy embraces like guns and shit. And he kind of saves the day.
I'm pretty sure in the remake they get that same actor because he's still alive. The iconic guy from The Hills Have Eyes, that bald dude with the bug eyes. Yeah. I actually watched The Hills Have Eyes with Joe Bob Briggs on his show, and he had that guy as a guest to rip on the movie and ask questions about it and shit. And so he was still alive as of recently. So I'm 99% sure. It's been a while since I saw the remake, but I'm 99% sure he's in it.
I haven't seen either one of them in quite a long time. I saw The Hills Have Eyes as a teenager, and I saw The Hills Have Eyes remake whatever year it came out. So
yeah, I just recently watched the old one, and I saw the remake whenever it came out. But yeah, it's a decent remake.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was
neither
too
of
bad,
them are movies. Neither of them are movies I'm going to go back and watch, and neither of them I think really are iconic enough. Now, there was a recent remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre that sucked, or a reboot.
Yeah,
an
I saw that
attempted
one.
reboot.
That was a while ago, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah,
too
it was a
recent.
while ago, but
it was 2003 that they did Texas Chainsaw
I think that's
Massacre.
recent. Look, dude.
Yeah,
me, 2003 is
that's
recent.
nearly 20 years ago. I mean, come on.
No, it's still recent in my mind. Okay?
You're not old enough for 20 years ago to be recent. That's still almost half your lifetime away.
That's recent.
That blows my mind. So I choose to look at it from the other way.
Okay.
And just be like, all right, yeah, that didn't happen that long ago. It was in the 2000s.
Yeah, okay. I guess
that's the excuse I made.
Fair enough.
That's Pies. That's Paul's line of demarcation. 2000. What
It's
about
in
the
the 2000s.
So if it's 2000 above, it's recent.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
a
90s
recent
is
film.
old. What about the 90s? That's old.
The 90s is old now. Yes, I finally admitted to myself that the music and cinema of my childhood are now classic rock and classic film.
Oh yeah, dude. I remember like I'll see shit. It's like, yeah, this person started this movie in 1995, and you'll see people like, yeah, that's a long time ago, and you're like, oh shit, man, I was like
classic
a kid.
hip hop. Classic this, I finally gave up on that. They started trying to do that way too early, in my opinion. Like, I remember in the early 2000s, classic rock stations started, like, I would tune in to hear, like, Def Leppard or Queen or something, and it would be like, I'm not like them. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute, Nirvana is classic rock now in 2001? Are you kidding me? No. It's a little early for it to be classic rock.
They jumped the gun a little bit on that. 10 years does not make it classic rock.
I think around 2008 or 9, I admitted, okay, it's been like a couple of decades since a lot of this music came out. It's classic rock now. I gave up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, at a certain point. I mean, now, like, yeah, early 90s definitely qualifies as classic rock.
Man, I'm going through lists. I'm pouring through lists of, like, good, supposedly reboots. And I got to say,
you disagree with.
There's not too many good reboots.
Just screen share one of them and scroll through it, and let's see how many we agree with.
Sure thing. Yeah, I can do that.
Just find like one of the top 10s or whatever the fuck.
So here we go. Good reboots. 17 reboots better than the original. There we go.
Okay, this is definitely going to be one that we disagree with a lot.
So Mad Max Fury Road, I can kind of agree with that, but I don't even know I don't consider that necessarily a reboot because that's kind of a sequel.
It is. It's a reboot.
It's a reboot.
Okay, I consider it
a sequel. It is definitely different in pacing and content than the original.
A Star is Born is just a remake, which of a movie that's already been remade like 2 or 3 times.
I haven't seen it. I've seen the original Star is Born. I have not seen the remake, so I can't comment.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I have to say, not a fan of this one.
There's The Hills Have Eyes, which we talked about already. The Departed, which is just a it's just a remake of a fucking Japanese movie, right? So
okay, to me it was new. I'd never heard of or seen the original, and it's a great movie. So
yeah,
whatever.
It says, it's based on internal affairs. Hong Kong. That means
I feel like this. I feel like this one is like catching me on a technicality because I'm not like, I don't watch Hong Kong films all that often. You know what I mean?
Right.
I do, but
not super often. I never seen it. I don't know.
But I get it. Batman Begins.
Okay, so we talked about the Batman stuff. I think it's a pretty good reboot.
Hold on.
These are not
go back.
This is
go back.
I don't consider remakes to be reboots because it's not. You're not rebooting a whole franchise. You're just kind of
setting aside that quibble that you have, TJ. Yes. Go with my worldview where this is definitely a reboot of the Batman franchise.
Well, I can definitely see more of a case for this being a reboot than Scarface being a reboot, just because a previous Scarface film.
It's a remake. Like Scarface is a reimagining, I guess, is what I would call it, because it's very different from the original Scarface movie. It shares some of the themes and outcomes and shit, but ultimately, like, it was modernized and brought. It's kind of like that Romeo and Juliet movie from the 90s,
right?
Oh yeah. I remember
in terms of how it took the old story and then put a bunch of modern shit in it. So, Star Trek.
Better than
now, I know how you guys feel about this shit. I do not hold Trek in the same reverence that you guys do. Clearly, I grew up watching it and I love it. I'm not going to lie to you, went to this movie in the theaters expecting it to be shit, and I had a great time with it. Like, I thought that the movie, it didn't feel like a Star Trek episode, but I thought that they did a good job of casting younger versions of the characters.
I don't have any problem with the performances. I think that Chris Pine was a perfectly good. Like, we were talking about how difficult it is to fucking replace iconic characters. This movie actually does a really good job of that. The problem for me in this movie is it's way too much of just like a straight up action movie. There's not much Star Trek to it.
I thought they did a good job because the action scenes in this movie are actually memorable and really fucking cool. Like that drill scene where those drills are falling to the planet to drill into the core and shit, and they're fighting from platform to platform. They're CG heavy, but there's a lot of really cool that scene where fucking Kirk is in his busted up suit and he's got to land in that tiny little porthole, but he's doing it blind and they're trying to help him. And like a lot of memorable, cool, really done action scenes. Really well done. I don't think it felt anything like any of the series that I've watched.
I would say that it's honestly better than some of the original Star Trek films. I would say it's better than Star Trek the Motion Picture. But
I would say it's better than most of the original Star Trek films, honestly.
Don't you hate Into Darkness?
I don't hate it.
You don't hate it?
I think so. As far as the Star Trek films in this series go, I think the first one is an okay action movie. I think the second one is an okay action movie. I think the third one is a bad movie. And that's about it.
What was the third one?
Beyond.
I
did not like Beyond.
That's the one with Idris Elba, and the only good scene in there is when they fucking blow up that ship to the tune of the Beastie Boys' Sabotage.
It's definitely well, whatever. I don't know. It's definitely my least favorite, but I didn't dislike it as much as you guys did. It's my least favorite of them.
Okay. Man of Steel is not better than the Donner films. I'm sorry.
And yeah, I don't think that they're gonna be able to do it either. There is something iconic about those original fucking Superman films.
Now, obviously, those went pretty far off the rails with like.
I want to be a green bagel.
Get like Nuclear Man and fucking Richard Pryor. Okay, it's
Man,
too,
they-
but you know,
I don't know.
My character will appear as a green suitcase.
I already talked about True Grit, Casino Royale. I mean, James Bond is one of those characters that's constantly being reinvented. I don't know that it counts.
Not a reboot. I consider, and this is how I've always considered, I've considered Bond films a continuous, unbroken chain of movies that are all connected to one another, and Bond is clearly a character that is played by many different people.
Yeah.
Like as a spy, when a Bond retires, a new Bond is born.
Well, it's a
clearly.
designation. 007 is a designation. So,
Right.
I mean, anyone can have it.
So I don't really. The Ring. Okay, so I've seen Ringu, which is the
Ringu.
Japanese horror movie.
Pa, you have Ringo.
And I gotta say, I agree with the list on this one. Like, I think that The Ring is a better movie overall than Ringu is. I actually really liked this version of The Ring with Naomi Watts and the creepy little kid in it.
This version of this only had 2 movies, and the second one was terrible. So
This isn't well, we should say that Spider-Man is an example of a franchise that has gone through a number of remake and reboot attempts.
Yeah.
Like, how many times have we seen the Uncle Ben arc redone?
Twice, 3 times. I don't know.
3
Too many times.
at least, right?
So they had Tobey Maguire did. The
I don't
first
think
one,
that they
right?
did. They didn't do the Uncle Ben storyline with
Tom Holland?
the new guy yet.
They didn't. No, they didn't. But they did with that other reboot of Spider-Man.
Well, this is
with
the one.
little-
That's this one. This is the Mark Webb 2012 one starring Andrew Garfield and shit.
It's in that one.
which they do in that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and they did it in the. There was another one
The
that we're
Tobey
missing.
Maguire
A Sony reboot of it that has a Hispanic guy kind of in the role of Peter Parker.
What?
There's like more Hispanic looking.
I don't remember. I mean, let's go. Let me head over to IMDb.
Go look at the Spider.
Spider-
I think we're missing one.
There's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. There's Spider-Man Far
Not
From
Hispanic, I guess. He's just
You're talking about
He's
the black,
got-
the black guy. You're talking about the black.
no,
No.
no. He wasn't a black guy. This is the one with the black guy.
No, this
Right?
is not. It did the Spider-Verse one with the black dude.
No. Okay.
Well, there's Spider-Man 2000. Let's see exact title matches. There's the Amazing Spider-Man. That's 2012.
That's this one.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And then it goes. Yeah, there is. I don't know what Paul's talking about. I'm kind of confused as well because Paul, I'm not seeing anything. I'm seeing they've done 3. There's Tobey Maguire. There's Andrew Garfield. There's Tom Holland.
Yeah.
So there's 3, and then there's a Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay. Well, I'm just remembering a Spider-Man wrong then. Can you blame me?
Yeah, Paul made up a
I
Spider-Man.
made up a Spider-Man that never existed. Or maybe it
That's
exists.
great.
Maybe it existed in the Berenstein universe.
That's probably where it exists.
Cape Fear is yet another remake. It's not really a reboot. It's a remake. But
It's a remake, and I consider it to be in almost every way superior to the original.
I've
So-
seen them both, and I remember them both being really good. And I can't remember which one I like better. So I don't know.
This one is just like by a long shot. I preferred this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to watch
the
them
two
side
central
by side or
performances
something.
and Nick Nolte and fucking De Niro and the way they play off of each other in this movie is just too fucking good.
I know, dude.
I can't tear my eyes off of it, dude. It's like that dynamic is so central to this movie, and it's played so well and supported really well too by Juliette Lewis and her premiere performance as an actress. Went on to have a pretty successful career.
Cool. Then of course
Jessica Lange is always good in movies. So
Oh yeah.
It's just a great
Freaky
movie.
Friday.
I haven't seen the
whatever.
original, but I know a lot of people love this version of Freaky
I
Friday.
fucking whatever.
I've seen both, and I
we
don't
can-
like either of them.
Oh no! Move along. Pop, TJ. Pop. No, I'm not getting sucked into shitting on it.
Yeah,
this
this is bullshit.
Fuck off it. Fuck off it. See yourself out.
The Jungle Book remake. No,
I haven't seen it, so can't comment.
Yeah, I can't.
Peter
We'll
Jackson's
agree on
King
this
Kong.
one. I not only did I like this King Kong, I guess you would call it reboot.
Yeah, sure.
I liked this King Kong reboot, and I'm looking forward to the upcoming continuation of it, King Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh fuck, dude!
Isn't that's not a continuation of this one though?
It is.
It's a continue. No, it's a.
I have heard it. Oh, it's a continuation of Skull Island.
Yeah.
Never mind. I thought this was Skull Island. This one sucks.
This is the Peter Jackson one.
Oh wait, this isn't the Skull. Okay, yeah, I think me and Paul both got
straight remake.
Yeah, this is the
no. This is the Peter Jackson.
This is the remake
yeah,
that Peter Jackson
remake.
No.
This is the wrong one. Skull Island should be up here.
Yeah, see yourself out, King Kong. See yourself
sorry,
out.
I mistook this for Skull Island. I was talking about Skull Island.
So I saw this and I thought that it was pretty garbage. Not only that, like the movie
Jack Black is ass. Adrian Brody sucks in most everything he's in. I don't know why he's an actor. I don't like him.
Yeah.
The pianist.
Naomi Watts is just bad in it. The CG is bad in it.
The monkey's not good.
It's
Everything
in every way a
sucks.
downgrade from the original 1950s King Kong. Or 1949.
30s actually, but who's counting?
Is it 30s?
Yeah, it's
Jesus
the 30s.
Christ.
It was like made in like 38 or something.
I think it was 33.
Well, whatever. The
I could be
original
wrong.
King Kong is superior in every fucking way.
Let's see. I think it was
Oh, yeah.
33, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
33?
1933. There we go.
Jesus Christ.
33, yeah. Well, I remember actually the first time I saw it was like I was on a road trip with Stevie and he had it on his little DVD player. He's like, I've got King Kong. I'm like, all right, I'll watch it.
It's pretty cool. It's a really watchable film to this day. It's an old, way older than I thought it was in my mind. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I was probably a teenager the last time I watched the old King Kong.
It's hard to think of a movie being that old, you know. It's coming up on its 100-year anniversary at this point. So
I've been digging around in some of those old movies recently, watching a lot of old Bela Lugosi movies. I reviewed a couple of them on my.
But TJ, that shows you the
whatever.
staying power of fucking King Kong, dude. He's almost fucking. He's about to turn 100, dude. In one decade, he's pretty much gonna be 100, and he's still still making fucking movies. TJ's still out there,
still going strong to this day.
He's still getting paid the big bucks. He's still making shit like Skull Island. Because me and Paul both got confused. I love Skull Island. The Peter Jackson one, I don't fuck.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. The Peter Jackson one is horrible, dude. Jack Black is so fucking.
God,
lame in
he's
that movie.
so fucking poorly cast for that fucking role. He's the fat director, dude. He's a fucking oaf. He brings
Adrian
nothing.
Brody is a terrible. He's always like he's been good in a couple of movies, and I can't think of which.
You know another
ones
fucking
offhand,
movie?
But
And this actually keeps in the reboot shit. Predator. They put him in a fucking Predator movie.
oh
and I
my
went to
fucking
see it,
god,
and
he's
I was
horrible
like,
in that too.
so bad. It's like, so we don't get Arnold. We don't get fucking any of those cool guys like Jesse Ventura. Like, dude, the original Predator cast is fucking awesome. That's what fucking makes the fucking movie, dude. They have all these different characters, all these different interests competing.
Oh my god, dude, that movie is so fucking over the top and awesome. I love the fucking handshake and the flex handshake. You know what I mean? That's such an iconic movie moment, and it's so oiled up and over the top 80s. It just how do you not love that movie? The reboots have all been horrible.
Motherfucker. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I don't know why they continue to try to make Predator. Like, how many times do you have to fail and suck before you realize, like,
it's a movie
you had
that,
lightning in a
once again,
bottle, you're not going to catch
like,
it twice. You know what I mean?
I feel like if I was put in control of the IP and given license to at least write a treatment for it and supervise the script writing and production of a fucking Predator movie, we'd get a new good Predator movie. I could do it.
Sure.
Well,
I fucking guarantee.
They fundamentally. Oh, dude. Well, they fundamentally just don't understand what made Predator 1 great. And everyone that's followed it's been like, the Predator's got more weapons and more shit and more this and more that. It's like, no. Wrong. It's not what the Predator's about.
Depending on the constraints, like if I wasn't constrained in any way, we did a Pitch Wars on it. Like I would do a crazy movie from a Predator's perspective. I want to do like a female Predator whose family was dishonored and she has to go to this planet where they've seeded it with xenomorphs. And to restore her family's honor, the only way that she can do it is to fight her way to the queen and bring back the head of the queen. If she can do that, then her family's honor is restored and she gets to be a hunter. If not, she's banished or dies on that planet.
Already a better fucking pitch.
So here's
already a better pitch than any of the recent Predators.
Here's all the fucking Predator movies that have been made, and literally only one is good. So you got Predator,
Alien versus Predator,
which is good.
Awful.
Predator 2. I mean,
horrible.
like honestly, looking back at Predator 2 in light of what's come after, I gotta say Predator 2 is not looking as bad as it used to, but it's not great.
It's real bad though. It's got fucking Agent Murtaugh in it. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Biggs. there's an invisible guy, Riggs, and he's shooting. I just can't do it, dude. I'm sorry. Agent Murtaugh.
I gotta say, I feel like Predator 2 is better than the shit that comes after, but
maybe
it's not much.
I saw the most recent one, of course, with Steve. We watched the most recent Predator. I saw like the end of it, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Well, hold on, let's just go through this
fucking movie.
Alien versus Predator, awful,
dog shit.
Then Alien vs. Predator Requiem. I haven't seen it, but my understanding is it's even fucking worse than Alien vs. Predator.
Dog shit.
Also,
I've seen it. It's terrible.
People joke about it being like hard to even watch because it's like so black, like everything's shot so dark that you can barely tell what's going on.
It's shaky and dark and boring.
TJ, you went to see it. You saw that movie. You must have just repressed it from your memory.
What are you talking about?
You and Dad, you and Dad went to see that movie.
No, I did not see it.
You did see it.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I've never seen it.
You just don't remember it. You were there.
I was not there. I promise you I was not there. You're fucking misremembering.
I'm not misremembering shit, TJ.
Okay. Predators. I guess that's the Adrian Brody one, right? I checked out. I stopped watching them, according to me anyway, after Alien versus Predator. But according to Scotty, I saw Requiem, but I'm 99.9%
It came out in 2007. Yeah, dude, you saw it. You saw it with me and Dad.
Dude, I remember down to the year, what year King Kong came out. So I'm pretty sure I fucking would remember if I'd seen this fucking movie.
TJ. It doesn't prove
it doesn't prove anything that you say. I specifically.
You were fucking there, TJ.
I was not fucking there, you dipshit. No, I'm not. I was because I would remember that movie if I'd seen it.
Yes, you were.
I would remember it.
You're infamous for having a terrible memory. You just don't remember.
I'm infamous for having a terrible memory when it comes to real life events. I don't forget fucking movies. I don't forget movies. I did not see Requiem. You stupid fuck.
You were there.
No, I was not.
You were there.
I was not there. You stupid shit.
No, you're a stupid motherfucker with no fucking memory.
I'm gonna fucking kick. I'm gonna see you later today. I'm gonna kick your fucking ass for fucking saying I fucking saw Predator, Alien vs. Predator Requiem because I didn't see that shit.
I'm gonna whip your fucking fat ass.
I didn't see that shit. All right, who here's seen Predators?
You two fighting boys.
Shut up, Paul. Have you seen Predators or not?
Boys.
Paul, do you see Predators with Adrian Brody and Lawrence Fishburne and Topher Grace and Alicia?
Yes, I've seen it.
What was it like? Tell us about it.
It's like they tried to recapture the guys in a jungle running from the Predator thing because these guys crash land on some jungle planet. Or no, I think they're prisoners and they're banished to some jungle planet. That's what it is.
It's some shit like that.
And it's like a group of badasses or whatever.
And Adrian Brody is a badass.
Not anywhere near. They're not the right kind of badasses because Adrian Brody is in it,
right?
Who looks like a heroin junkie. You know what I mean? So. He's in there.
I gotta find a picture of him, dude. They fucking man.
Who the fuck looks at Adrian Brody and thinks like, I know what a badass.
Whoever cast Predators from 2010 looked at him and thought, yeah, that's our leading man. That's our Arnold Schwarzenegger for this movie, Adrian Brody. It's horrible. It's just bad. It's a bad attempt to recapture the original. You can tell that like some talks happened, and they were like, look, what's happened is that things have gone too far afield from the original concept. The original concept was a group of badasses in the jungle against the one predator, and they get whittled down to one last standoff. So that's what this movie is basically. But Adrian Brody is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So it's in the future. They are prisoners that are banished to this planet. They band together. The predators use it as a hunting ground, and they're picked off one by one. Each one of them sucks more than the last, including the one that's left at the end, Adrian Brody, who insultingly manages to outwit the Predator at the end.
Now, the only other one that's been made is 2018's The Predator.
Oh, no.
So, Scotty, you've seen that. Paul, have you seen that?
No.
I think I have seen it, but I don't remember it, so maybe I have not seen it. I watched part of it. Predator.
I watched part of it with Steve. Oh, my fucking God, TJ. Like, Predator 2010 was bad, but it's still a movie. Still a watchable movie. 2018 Predator is just like what they did to fucking Pinhead in fucking Revelations. It's like they made the Predator so lame. They've made everything about the franchise so lame and so predictable and so cliche and robbed of anything that made it unique back in the fucking 80s. Like, it's just like they're trying to make a movie from an era that's just gone. Maybe it can be pulled off again.
It can be. Look, if you were gonna go against my idea, which completely reimagines it from the eyes of the Predator, and makes it that, right? Like a zero dialogue film almost, that's just about a predator on this weird planet that's filled with dangerous beasts, and one of them happens to be xenomorphs, and there's a queen she's got to kill. Okay, you set that aside. You want something that's more like the original. That could be done too. All you have to do is find these ripped dudes that have replaced the kind of Arnolds and shit. And I'm not saying they replace him in terms of the same quality, but like
who's the dude that plays Thor?
Hemsworth.
Chris
Hemsworth.
So you get Chris Hemsworth as one of them. Who's and The Rock. You get The Rock.
Okay, yeah, dude. You get those dudes. There you
go.
So
you got Chris Hemsworth. You got The Rock. Who else?
What's the Jason Statham? He could
fucking. What about Goldberg?
Goldberg.
Yeah, I'm dead fucking serious, dude. As an old grizzled fucking veteran soldier, they send in after this thing.
Yeah, sure. I mean, just get a bunch of muscle heads. Get a bunch of fucking testosterone addled.
What do you think they did in the original
motherfuckers?
They got a bunch of fucking muscle heads.
Okay, fuck. See, Stallone and them are all wrong. They want to make Expendables 4. They need to fucking remake Predator, dude. But make it right.
See, no. They're too floppy. The old man Predator thing. If you're gonna remake Predator and you want it to be the original story again, you just cast all the big buff muscle heads of the time right now.
Cast that motherfucker that plays the mountain
young people in it too. Is what
Game
I'm saying.
Like,
they need to put together another dream team like that. Is what I'm saying.
Well, you're using some young and some old in my pitch. You know,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You got a balance. You got Goldberg. You got some wrestlers to play the different fucking, like The Rock would be amazing in the movie. And then Chris Hemsworth is maybe the last guy. He's the Arnold. You know what I mean? He's the guy that gets to rip his shirt off at the end and rub mud on his big fucking giant pecs and fucking 9-pack that he's got. You know what I mean? It could be done. I think it would work.
Get this motherfucker in there.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
He's the Predator, dude.
Well, yeah, dude. He would be perfect as the fucking Predator.
Fucking fuck CGI, dude. The fucking live action Predator is the fucking goddamn mountain, dude.
That would be kind of a reimagining of the Predator, because the Predator in the original movie is almost female. Like, it's very lithe and like, make agile. It's not like a big hulking thing. It still has size. It's still represented as being like bigger than a normal man, but it's like real agile. If he could pull that off, though, he'd be perfect for it.
Oh yeah, that'd be fucking.
I could also see him as one of the badasses on the team too.
Well, that's what I was envisioning.
The Russian badass. He's the Jesse Ventura, because he's the only guy big enough to handle the fucking giant minigun that they have for him. You know what I mean? Nazdrovia, are you ready to go? Cuts down all the trees and shit. You had to make a shot-for-shot remake and just put new muscle heads in it. Why not?
Yeah, shot for shot. Huh? They can't fall into the trap of fucking doing the CGI Predator. That's the main thing.
No, they got to cast the Predator. He's got to be a physical presence on the screen. They can use CGI to make him like invisible, to make that shimmery effect.
It's like when they fucking remade the fucking thing, dude. It was like, oh, it's a bunch of CGI oogly boogly. It's like, no.
But he should never be CGI. The actor that plays the Predator, if he's up in a tree, they should put his ass up in the fucking tree, crouched down and shit, and shoot him there.
The also thing too about the movie is they didn't fucking overuse the Predator. They had the Predator vision and shit with like so you would see from there that they actually did at some points in the movie adopt the Predator's perspective, which was cool.
That's true.
They didn't overuse it. They made him invisible and shit, so they had a little bit of special effects here and there, but it wasn't like they did it overkill.
Well, that was part of the cool thing about it, was you didn't get to see the Predator till the last quarter of the movie, when Arnold manages to damage him. Or one of them damages him and fucks up his cloaking device. Yeah. I think it's Arnold.
And you don't get to see his face until the very, very end.
Right, but you get that's the cool part about it, is like there's 3 layers of revealing the Predator. At first he's just this shimmering invisible thing we get to see through his eyes, but we don't know really what he is. We get a vague idea of his outline. And then he's revealed. And then at the very end of the film, we get to see his face. That's brilliant. So we gotta, you steal that again. For the first part of the movie, he's just totally invisible, totally unbeatable. If he bleeds, we can kill it. I love the Predator. It's so fucking good,
dude. Paul, that's why you were smart to pick like you love the Aliens franchise. You have Aliens, a great movie. Then you have Aliens, there's another great fucking movie. It's not till the 3rd movie in the franchise, and that's kind of acceptable.
Dude, I agree with you. We don't have to go into it because maybe we should switch gears from movies at this point. But I will end on this note. Alien 3 gets a bum rap. It is not as good as the movies that preceded it. I will concede that. But it is not as bad as some people try and pretend it is. It's actually a pretty good flick.
It's just coming from such a high bar. When you come from Aliens and then Alien 3, that's really what I think is really what hurts it the most. Is if it was just by itself.
Taking, I used to hate it, and watching it now as an older guy and putting it in the context of the films, I'm less defensive of the films and less defensive of the things that it kind of ruins about the films. And I'm more accepting of the really memorable scenes that are in Alien 3 that there's no denying. Like that scene where she fucking sneaks out to the garbage pile and finds Bishop's head and brings it back to life and interrogates him one last time about what happened on the ship. That's great. And they got fucking what's his name back to do the voice of it. And it's a great practical effect. It's you know, I don't know. People shit on it way too much. There's some great scenes of it hunting. It's more like Alien 1 than anything. I think that's what people disliked about it.
Yeah,
Alien 2,
I have to agree with you there.
Alien 2 is this big bombastic action flick with, you know, machine guns and bombs and grenades and hordes of aliens getting cut down by lasers and giant fucking, you know what I mean? And then like Alien 3 is, once again, it's like one of them is loose amongst a bunch of people that are really defenseless against it. And I think people didn't like that, but I, you know, watching it from that perspective, and on top of it, it explores the concept of the character of Ripley as a feminist, as like a feminist icon, because she is, in my opinion, like a feminist icon, or should be, in terms of film. She's a woman that like takes charge in areas that in most movies it's like the man goes, get out of the way, lady, and let me grab the, you know, she's the one that fucking drives the APC through the wall to save everybody when they're getting overrun by the aliens and shit. You know, she's the one that goes back and saves Newt by herself because nobody else is capable of doing it. She's the one that escapes. She's the one that jumps in the loader at the end of the fucking movie and kills the alien queen. Like, she's a fucking strong woman all the way through. In 3, she's thrown into this all men's penal colony where the people that are there haven't seen a woman in 40 fucking years. Some of them never. And she's forced to confront this like constant sexual threat. It's like it forces her to confront that part of being a woman too. And she ends up beating that. She ends up managing to go unraped through the movie.
Well, in the first Alien too, I mean, she defies expectations because, I mean, obviously there's no standard had been set at that point, and you're kind of expecting, okay, so the captain here, he's gonna fucking figure it out, and it's like, nope, he's gone. It's like, oh shit, you have Ripley at that point, and she somehow manages to fucking survive on the ship. Like, oh, I'm gonna. And I kind of like how there's almost like a foible to that, where she's like, I'm gonna blow the ship up. Then like, never mind, I'm not gonna blow the ship up. Like, oh shit, I gotta blow the ship up. You know what I mean? It's like a comedy of errors that ends up working out in the end. And it's just like, it's one of those movies and franchises that until it really gets to 4, that 4 is where it just drops completely, where it's like, no, that's a dumb movie. I'm not really a fan of the 4th one.
I wasn't really able to get through 3, so I don't know. I can't really say that I think 3 is good.
What do you think about 4?
I can appreciate. I should give it another chance.
I can appreciate
honestly.
What Paul is saying, but I've never been able to get. I mean,
I think
never.
you should
I've
give
watched
it another chance. I honestly think. If
I gave it a chance probably 2 years ago or so, and I tried to watch it, and I just got really, really fucking bored.
I mean, I will admit that it does drag, but so does the first movie, if we're being honest.
I don't know. I mean, the first movie is atmospheric enough to suck me in and get me into that slow burn mindset. The third one, it tries to, and I don't know that it succeeds. I can maybe try it again. I mean, I might just need to be in the right headspace. But
you know, I'm not too defensive.
I'm going to say that Alien
personally...
3 is not bad in the way that 4 or every other movie that follows is bad.
4 is horrible.
At least
4 is not even really an alien movie.
I can acknowledge the artistic merit of 3 in a way that I won't acknowledge for part 4 on.
It's like a weird comedy film.
Yeah, Alien 3. It definitely has like the director is Alien 4 was directed by that French dude. I can't remember his fucking name.
It kind of has that like
Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
It kind of has.
It has a French feel, so
it kind of has like that. You know, like they're kind of going for aliens. Like they're kind of trying to be like they're trying to like kind of thread that. Like there's some humor here, and there's the scenes where it's like Ripley does have some like some of those feminist moments. Like like they're on the basketball court and she like she does the backward swish,
so
you know, and shit like that. So they got some like good scenes in the movie.
I'll tell you what. You know,
it's mainly just a fucking action.
Do you know what Alien 4? You know what movie Alien 4 kind of reminds me of? Maybe not quite as bad, but it's kind of in the same vein to me as the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's got kind of that vibe of like being so like over the top and like
think about like
not knowing whether it wants to be serious or like comedy or whatever the
think
fuck.
about the openings of the original Alien movies, right? Both of them moody and atmospheric, space, dark kind of openings that are very stark and remind you that you're in a very grim universe that's very corporatist and very, you know what I mean? The introduction of the ships and the this, that, and the other, right? The opening to Alien 4, okay, is we see this CGI bug up close. It's like, and the camera starts panning back. And we see that this bug is not huge after all. It's a tiny bug that's on the desk of somebody that's operating some kind of piece of machinery. And that person squishes the bug and then goes, gross, and wipes the bug's guts on the window. And then we pan back and we see he's driving a big space crane that's spinning through space. And there's this whimsical, like, do kind of music playing that implies like a goofy universe where dudes squish space bugs and wipe them on the window. It's like, what am I being introduced to here?
A really shitty movie.
They went for a laugh in the first fucking 20 seconds of the original opening of that movie. They eventually changed it. Like they eventually went back, and in the new cuts of it, that beginning does not exist.
Dude, me and TJ went to see that movie in fucking theaters. We're like, Alien, yeah! And like, remember that fucking cheapy theater they used to have around here, TJ?
Yeah.
So we went there and like, yeah, we're gonna see the Alien movies. Like this one for our generation. Yeah, we're gonna see this one, and it was just so disappointing. It was just like, oh no, what
has
the fuck?
Winona Ryder in it, who was at the real end of her rope. That her shtick was like believable anymore. Like she's just Winona Ryder, but she's
I'm an android.
Right.
I can feel the ship moving.
I definitely got strong lesbian vibes between her and Sigourney Weaver though, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, there was definitely that, but it wasn't really Ripley. It was like a clone of Ripley.
Sure,
but you know, some hybrid clone thing.
At the end of the
that
day,
was way more aggressive than Ripley was. Yeah. Like they kind of took away, because here's the thing.
At the end of the day, I was like 13 or 12 or whatever the fuck age I was, so I was kind of like, yeah, sure. I'm feeling this. You know what I mean? So. But
the reason why it sucks is because they kind of take away that icon status that I was talking about, of Ripley as a strong woman protagonist in movies, as an example of that, as a feminist icon in film, and they relegate her, they masculinize her. So because in the first three movies, she still remains a woman. She retains her femininity. Right. She doesn't become a man in order to fucking fight these things. She just uses her cunning and the weaponry available to her to overcome the beast.
Yeah.
I mean, she uses like her bravery. She uses like, she honestly just kind of strategizes and thinks really good and really improvises on the fly. 'Cause I mean, like, she doesn't have a lot of time to deal with the xenomorphs. Like, let me plan out how to deal with them. And she's always the voice of reason too.
In this movie, they've cloned Ripley in the future. And the Ripley that we get is basically just a Ripley that acts like a typical male action hero.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I'm violent. I'll break your nose for even looking at me wrong. And
wait a minute. You're not Walter. You're David. Dun, dun, dun.
Fuck you, dude. Dude, no.
Alien
as
Covenant,
much as you want to shit on Alien 4, dude, that was the worst. That, like, I remember, like, being in the theater with you guys, and it's like, we're watching Alien Covenant. It's like, oh, no. It's David.
We laughed. We laughed
because it was so.
The three of us simultaneously, when the reveal happened, went like the whole theater was packed and rang with the peals of our laughter, dude. It was horrible.
You're not Walter. You're David.
That's the sensibility of a group. Because like me and I've only done that one other time in a movie with somebody.
Oh,
like,
it was we were watching
Kingdom of Heaven,
dude. The audience thought we were crazy.
And they're like, an army of Jesus Christ cannot be defeated. God wills it. God wills it. It means he just like, God wills it. These fucking like uptight Christians in Mississippi just turn around like, look at us like, why is that funny? And they just couldn't get why we were laughing.
That's awesome.
The same reason we weren't laughing in Covenant when she's like,
it was like something out of a cartoon, man. It was like out of a fucking cartoon.
Yeah, that movie does suck.
It's so much worse than. I mean, I'd rather watch Alien Resurrection than Covenant again. That was at least Alien Resurrection had some like fucking sense of like trying to be fun or something. I don't even know what fucking Covenant.
What about
was going
Alien?
for.
What about Prometheus?
Prometheus? I don't know. I mean, I didn't think. I thought Prometheus was kind of okay. I mean, it had some problems.
I gave Prometheus a bum rap because the first few times I watched it, the first couple of times I watched it, I was like, man, I fucking hate everything about this. I really do.
Really? I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, there was some stupid shit for sure.
Yeah.
There's some really dumb, indefensible character decisions and shit. But I mean, overall, I didn't think it was really that bad of a fucking movie.
I agree now. I've gone back and watched it. I watched it like a couple years ago, and I remember going, okay. Taking this in a vacuum as a reboot and you know, assuming falsely, by the way, that we're going to get a continuation of this story, her escaping and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's like that is actually not bad. It's not bad as an Alien movie. It's not bad as an attempt to take the franchise in a different direction and to establish a new character that's Ripley-like, because it did have a strong female protagonist.
And I mean,
she goes through
but let's face
crazy
it,
shit.
Alien Covenant not only shits on the entire Alien franchise, it shits on whatever promising elements Prometheus had as well.
Yep. There's a weird, in Covenant, there's a weird captain whose whole character exists because he's Christian.
Right.
yeah.
That's the only reason he's there. The only reason he's in the movie is because he's a Christian guy, and he interjects his Christian perspective throughout the movie. And then dies in a Christian, and there's pseudo Christian symbolism about his death. He lays in the T pose, as the chest burster comes out of him or some shit.
Dude,
I thought it was so lame how they killed off.
By the way, here's the worst. This is the worst part of Covenant. So you guys know that thing they do in a movie where somebody's spouse will die. Yeah. And it's like kind of a cheap trick used in movies to foster
like instant
emotional
sympathy or whatever
connection from the audience. But it works in some movies. If it's done tastefully, it can work. It can draw you in.
Of course, yeah.
Do you guys remember how many times it was done in Covenant?
Like 3?
Oh, like constantly.
Because they were all couples.
3 times.
It was like a joke to us. Like I think like the second or third time, like we were just like, what the fuck is this? Like, now this person's dead. It's like, okay, the impact was like the first time, like we might have felt it a little bit. Like, okay, they got to this new world that's weird. It's deserted.
3 times we got the my spouse died crying scene where we're all supposed to be as an audience crying along with this person. And we're just like, move along. Who cares? You did this 20 minutes ago, and then they do it again. They have the audacity to pull it a third time in the film.
It's so lame.
There's robot kung fu in the movie.
The fact that they killed off I can't remember the bitch's name. The main chick from the last Prometheus.
Dude, look,
Numi. Her name is Numi Repay. I don't know. But anyway, the way that they fucking killed her character off between movies, and then like she was the big hero of the last movie, and then she just dies off screen in between movies, and David killed her and dissected her and stuff. It's like, what? This is fucking stupid.
Just totally failing as they're ostensibly trying to establish a trilogy with Prometheus. And Prometheus had, look, a lot of people shit on Prometheus when it came out, and I know you guys did too. I personally wasn't in that camp. I enjoyed the movie, but I recognize it was flawed. But the thing is this.
I mean, if you go back and look at my review, I'm pretty sure I was kind of I was pretty forgiving of the movie.
Well, I'm just
against
going
it.
based on what Paul said. But
I was definitely very critical of it when it first came out.
But fair enough. I mean, that's, hey, you put something out in the world, that's what you're going to get. But the thing is this, is that people were asking questions after that movie, like, what were these engineers about? Like, there was a lot of that lore and myth building stuff that I saw. Yeah. I saw online. I saw a lot of positive stuff in that where it's like people had a lot of questions, and I think that's honestly really good. After you see a movie, it's like people are like, what the fuck happened in that movie? What was going on? Like, maybe they missed things.
That was what eventually won me over about Prometheus. That exact phenomena that you described, where it was like I just had questions about the movie because there were certain parts of it I found really interesting. Now there are some indefensibly dumb things in Prometheus.
Sure.
The running away from the donut ship. Not running left or right.
Yeah.
The supposed xenobiologist that's trained in handling alien organisms, taking his glove off to touch the black snake with a fang on the end of it.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
No. The age makeup for
Peter Wayland.
Wayland.
That's got to be like in the top 10 worst age makeup ever. Horrible.
So yeah, I mean, definitely some indefensible shit. But there was also that scene where she gets a C-section and then she's up running around like nothing happened 10 seconds later. You know what I mean? Like, I guess maybe you can fudge that by saying, they were able to heal her quicker with the, technology they have.
Sure.
But I don't know. She hobbles for a minute like it's actually hurting her, that she had all her abdominal muscles cut through.
But just
sewn back together.
Untitled Alien prequel, y'all. Coming soon to a theater near you.
Whatever.
But that promise of that fucking Prometheus sequel, though, was like a tantalizing prospect. And then getting Alien Covenant, it was like, yeah, that other civilization you were going to learn about? Yeah, that was going to be crazy. Yeah, they were wiped out by these lame xenomorph things that David seeded. It's like, all right, fuck this movie.
Fuck this movie.
Fuck off.
This will be the first Alien movie to be made under Disney's ownership of Fox. I just realized Disney owns all the Alien movies now.
It's going to be horrible, man.
Disney's Alien.
Look, I mean, if they produce a good movie, great. I have no hopes for the franchise at this point. I'm not going to build anything up in my fucking mind of like Alien. I've already been fucking cockteased like that. And dude, when I heard Ridley Scott was going to go to Alien Covenant and make that, I was like, wow, I have way more confidence in this project. And because remember, there's another guy. It was the South African dude,
Neil Blomfist
District
or
9
some shit. The District 9 guy. And he was going to bring back Ripley, and he had all this concept art. He was going to ignore all of the sequels, except he was going to just make it a direct sequel to Aliens, and get rid of all the.
Which I think is smart, because one of the things people criticized about Aliens is in the first 5 seconds of the movie, you find out that Newt is dead.
Right. Alien 3,
and Newt as a character seems like a perfect successor to Ripley, because fucking Sigourney is like. How old is Sigourney now? She's got to be in her 60s and maybe even pushing 70 now.
She's pretty damn old, dude. She's like maybe 70.
Sigourney Weaver is.
I know she's in her 60s at least.
I mean, hold on. She is 70 years old.
Jesus fuck. Yeah. So right. So but Newt, you could cast Newt and put and make Newt. A grown-up now, and make her kind of the successor to Ripley, and she's working, doing what she's best at, and trying to eradicate these xenomorphs. And...
I'll tell you what, at the time, dude,
Sigourney Weaver looking good for fucking 70. Jesus Christ. But sure.
She has aged well. But no, I mean, I'll tell you what, man. I was like, damn, no, fuck his vision. We're going to get the... And it's like, dude, I fucking wish I had a time machine where it's like Ridley Scott just gets a fucking bum knee or something, and they have him make his fucking version.
Absolutely. I don't know, dude. Whatever. I'm open to any Alien fucking reboots and shit.
And Paul, look, dude. We know we're gonna get him eventually, so he's got to come to terms like it's gonna happen, and I'm gonna watch it.
It doesn't tarnish the original films for me. I can still go back, watch the Ridley Alien, watch the fucking what's his name Alien, the
James
fucking
Cameron.
Jim Cameron, yeah. And I can watch Alien 3 and appreciate what's good about that, and ignore the rest if I want to. And maybe go back and watch Prometheus and appreciate that. And yeah, if the rest of it sucks, I'm ready for it. So I want to kind of shift gears a little bit, if that's fine.
Sure.
Hold on. Can I just do one? Can I just do one more thing on the Alien thing before we?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah,
I understand wanting to switch gears. I just want to show you guys some of the concept art from the movie that was not made because of this shit.
It's because Ridley Scott is a fucking like Hollywood OG, so he pretty much is like, nope, I'm making it, and they're like, yep.
So here's some of the concept art they had for the movie he wanted to make.
I like the Queen.
Enhance.
I don't know how I feel about the Ripley Xenomorph combo, but I don't know what the plot
I don't know what
is.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like a suit she's wearing. I think it looks like it's some kind of suit she's wearing to like infiltrate them or something.
That's pretty
cool.
fucking cool. Then.
What the fuck, dude? God damn it, man.
Yeah, because if you see, it's like got like you can see there's kind of like a face mask thing here. Yeah, so it's like she's like trying to like.
At first, I thought she was like hybridized or something, but
no,
you're right.
No, there's like this
armor that they built out of them.
Yeah.
Oh shit. That could be cool. That's kind of sad. Now that I realize what that is, that's kind of sad. I like the moodiness. I like the lighting concepts. That's all right. So it looks like, is that Michael Biehn there?
Yeah.
Go down. That's Michael Biehn coming back?
It looks like it.
As fucking Hicks?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah, this movie should have been made. God damn it.
And now they're probably too old.
You, dude. That's what I was fucking telling you, man. See, and I put that knowledge in Paul's brain. I feel fucking bad,
man. Yeah, you should.
Blomkamp's artwork.
Now he knows, because like at first it was some nebulous thing, like they didn't make it. Then it's like, look at this cool concept art.
Scroll back through that concept art again. Okay, hold on. Just scroll through. I don't care about even reading the article. I don't need it.
So there's this.
So that looks like a great xenomorph. I love how shiny it is. It's going to look great in the dark.
So this is
I know this is a drawing, but I love the lighting concept here more than anything else.
Yeah, and
it's
then it looks
very good. I love this kind of pseudo-open arcology space. It looks like a place for people to come live in space and approximate life on a planet. A cool kind of way to inject a little bit of nature into an alien movie while still keeping it on a spaceship.
For sure.
So I see the same in that picture as well. Looks like an arcology.
Yeah, you see like the
that's the alien ship there. No.
Yeah,
the one above that.
Yeah, this one here.
That's the engineer ship.
Right, and they've obviously like brought it on board their own
ship.
Right,
they find one of these derelict engineer ships carrying the eggs and bring it on board, and that's what happens. There's our queen concept, which she looks great.
And then she's in the kind of arboretum looking area.
Yeah, she looks great. And then, of course, my favorite one of these, the infiltrator suit, which I think is the coolest fucking idea ever.
Yeah. It's super cool.
So, yeah, man, this movie should have been fucking made for sure.
But the reason this movie was not made was because Ridley Scott wanted to make Covenant. So, yep.
All right. Well, fuck you guys for making me aware of this.
Yeah, that's what's happening. Anyway, Paul, you said you wanted to shift gears, so go ahead.
So I'm not trying to be antagonistic, TJ.
Oh God!
But you are, as of recently,
the antagonism.
An acolyte, I guess. An acolyte, I would say, a devotee of Vosh.
Okay.
Right. You seem to have developed a little friendship with Vosh.
Bend the knee to Vosh,
and you seem to be very pliable in conversations with Vosh. You seem to come out the other end agreeing with him when you go into it kind of disagreeing with him. So he's clearly a guy that you think makes logical arguments. I'm not trying to impugn you for it. I'm just saying.
Sure.
Am I saying anything that out of turn here? Like you see him as a pretty smart dude?
I think so. I mean, I don't think that I've come around to. I mean, there's still a few areas I definitely disagree with him on, but
give Vosh time, TJ.
Like, what do you disagree with him
on? I don't know that I agree with his stances on deplatforming. I don't know that he and I view free speech issues in the same way.
How do you differ in the deplatforming argument?
Because he's very celebratory when something happens, like Stephen Molyneux kicked off of YouTube or whatever.
And he's like, good.
He's just like, yeah, good. And now he's like, look, it worked. He's deplatformed. It did its work because now he's getting less views over here. But I don't know if you can just. I think when it comes to like the individual level of like, is this person now going to be as influential now that they've been deplatformed? I think that no, obviously they're not.
Yeah.
But I don't know that the overall effects of that sort of stuff is positive. I think that it
just depends on right now the left is ascendant. So we've got we talking about the ephemeral left as we.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of power right now, but that's not always going to be the case as history shows us. And to think that these tactics aren't going to be used against us in the future and see, here's one thing I disagree with Vosh about. He thinks that political pendulum theory is complete bullshit.
Right.
Which to me, like the introduction. So I'm very
well,
protective of that
he's
because
a little bit on the young side too. So I mean, like, I don't know.
Right.
He might.
Well, whatever.
You know,
I don't want to. He's smarter than I am. He's
Sure.
been through more schooling and shit than I've been.
I mean,
through, and
obviously,
read more
he's
fucking
got
shit
like
than I've read,
he's
so.
got like a degree in sociology, and both of us are fucking dipshits. But
Right.
at the same time, like, we've been around the block a little bit more, so I don't know. As far as the pendulum goes, I mean, I don't know. I've seen it happen too many times for me to discount.
So here's the thing. You've got some minor disagreements with him, but one thing you don't have a disagreement, and correct me if I'm wrong, is this riding with Biden shit, right?
Yeah, I would say
You have encouraged your audience that live in swing states or states where their votes may matter to go and vote.
I wouldn't
for
say
Biden.
that I've strongly done that. I think that at this point, it's almost kind of a moot point. But yeah, I would say.
Do you
generally.
also agree with kind of his justification of riding with Biden? So. Because here is it, as I understand it, right? Okay, so he's going to be better on court appointments, although I think that we're being really super over hopeful if we think that Joe Biden is going to nominate a progressive justice.
I don't think anyone thinks that.
We're going to get, at best, like a centrist.
Yeah, we're going to get neolibs, basically.
Right, we're going to get a neoliberal justice. But whatever, that's probably better than a super fucking social conservative justice.
Right.
But
far-right justices, yeah.
When it comes to the tactics, it's let's elect Biden, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then and he's talking about like the left,
the
that's
broader left,
right now.
Right, yeah.
We will bully Biden into going more left on his policies. Am I wrong about that? I know that's his position.
Well, it's about partially bullying Biden left as far as we can, but it's also about, not discounting the fact that we're still going to have to engage in direct action and stuff and not really rely on electoral politics for all this stuff, because it's just,
sure,
the system is broken and everyone can fundamentally kind of
it's the simple bully Biden.
Yeah.
So the bully Biden thing.
Yeah.
To whatever a major point of contention between me and Vosh.
Gotcha.
Because I think it is absurd.
Yeah.
So let me give you an analogy here, TJ. You know I'm fond of them, and you're more tolerant of them than some people are. A lot of people will stop me before I.
I like analogies.
You like my analogies.
I like not just yours, but I like analogies in general. I'm not one of these people who, because the point of analogy is, and I don't mean to digress here. The point of an analogy is to compare two things that are different and find similarities. But a lot of times, because they're different things, people focus on the difference and then act like that's a refutation of the analogy, and that's one of the most retarded lines of thought ever. Now
analogies are good.
I do think that I do think you can point out if you can point out a substantive difference that is like a mitigating factor that kind of negates the similarity, then I think that's one thing. But just the fact that there's differences,
Right.
Anyway,
I'm a fan of fanciful analogy.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's nothing
so
wrong with
I
that.
will admit that what I'm about to present to you is a fanciful analogy.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Let's do it.
So TJ.
Yeah.
Now that we've got Scotty muted, I've got to tell you something.
Okay.
He can't hear us.
I'm pretty sure he can hear us.
No, he can't.
Okay.
He can't.
Gotcha.
He's completely oblivious.
All right.
I want to take over Scotty's share.
Yeah.
I want to convince Scotty to give his share to you and I.
Okay.
That we deserve it more than he does, right?
Right.
I want to bring him to our position.
Uh-huh.
So here's my plan. Let's put Scotty in a giant 20-story tall mecha suit. Like from Pacific Rim or something, right?
Right.
Bristling with like lasers and deflector dishes and missiles and machine guns and capable of crazy agility.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then let's bully that motherfucker into taking our position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Let's walk up to him, Scotty, in a fucking invincible mecha suit.
Yeah.
And let's bully him at that point into our position to give us more of his money.
Yes.
What about that analogy makes sense at all?
Okay.
Because that's basically
let me introduce
Biden analogy.
Let me introduce.
You guys want to try that?
I'm almost done. I'm
Okay.
almost done.
I didn't know you were done. I'm sorry.
Let me bring it home. That is pretty much an analog to the riding with Biden analogy. Let's make this man arguably the king of the fucking world.
Right.
Let's put him in the most powerful political position a man can hold.
Yeah.
And then let's bully him.
Right. Okay. So Let me just add another element to the analogy, though. So we can, the giant mech suit with all the missiles and power exists, and someone's gonna get to be in the driver's seat.
Don't forget the deflector dishes.
Yes.
And the kinetic shield and the lasers that come out of the fingertips.
Right. So we have
I also have hover ability too.
Now
flying.
So one of two people is going to end up in that mech suit, and it's either going to be Scotty or it's going to be Brett Keane.
Fuck.
So who? At that point, we have to decide. Shit. Who do we want in the
Brett
mech
Keane
suit?
Is a way more bumbling idiot than
That's
Scotty,
true.
So I pick Brett Keane. He's
Maybe you do, but
at
the same time, do you really want him to have the lasers and the machine guns and the missiles and stuff? I don't know.
I'd rather his dumb ass have that. Than
do you want
Scotty
competent evil that is maybe you're part of the constituency of, or do you want incompetent evil that is totally against you? I guess it's really the choice you're coming down to make.
Okay, fair enough. So that's a fair point to the analogy, but the point stands. All right.
Sure.
The fucking battle plan here is let us coronate Biden king of the fucking universe,
right?
And then let's bully him.
But I mean, like, it's not. I mean, I don't think it's being presented as a good option. But like, where's the good option? You know what I mean? Like, where's the path forward? That's like, okay.
I'm guessing it's that if obviously.
I mean, one of them's going to be you're going to have to choose which one of these motherfuckers. I mean, you don't have to choose; you can sit back. But either way,
a giant douche,
right? But even if you step aside, and say like, I will not participate in this, giant turd or douche still becomes the thing. Like, you're not like. You can't avoid that fate by not participating. I
think the progressive position is obviously.
I think you still have a choice. Like, you got to figure out.
Trump's going to totally ignore them.
Which one?
Yeah,
giant douche giant turd, man.
Well, Trump is going to totally fucking ignore the progressives anyways. He has nothing to gain by going after them. So I think their theory is, hey, if we get Biden in there, he at least has to be somewhat responsive to our concerns.
So.
Because we're part of the.
I don't mean to ambush you with this.
We're part of the constituent. I mean, like we're definitely. If you're on the left, you're definitely more viewed as part of Biden's constituency, even if you're pretty far from where Biden's at.
Well, I mean, and Trump has taken so many positions that are just are pretty much untenable. Like, we shouldn't have a post office space because Jeff Bezos is ripping the post office off. It's like, what are you talking about, Trump? But like, it's not like it shouldn't even be a political issue. It's like it's delivering fucking mail, you fucking retard. So I mean, I can understand why so many people have been driven to Joe Biden simply because he's not Trump, because it's stupid shit like that.
I watched,
and it's a litany of it.
Hold on, I watched an ad the other day for Joe Biden that didn't even make an attempt to sell me on Joe Biden. It literally is just like, Trump sucks, I'm your choice.
Yeah, right. That's basically what it is at this point.
Let me show you this fucking ad.
Yeah.
Because I watched this ad, and I'm like,
if you can find the ad, then
I got it. No, I've already got
it.
Here we go.
Okay.
This is pretty much just pure. There's not even a hint of this of like Biden's going to do anything. There's not a single promise from Biden. This is literally just, I'm not Trump, the ad. Check it out.
You put the wrong person in office, you'll see things that you would not have believed are possible. You'll see things that you would not have believed are possible.
Oh man, it's just like the world is a dumpster fire.
Sorry,
we put this fucking fat orange oaf in office.
I mean, like,
damn,
holy
dude.
fuck, dude.
Fuck, man.
Holy shit. So, what you are arguing for ultimately in taking the position, and I don't really care, but I want to present something to you and just see your reaction to it. Now, I admit this is kind of an ambush.
All right, go ahead.
I have this document.
Okay.
That I have. It's actually an Imgur gallery and a list of links on Imgur that I found on a subreddit somewhere, and I fucking love it. I've gone through every bit of it. It's called the Collapse of Civilization Manifesto.
Okay.
Cool.
I've used it a couple of times on Ideology, But I want to show you, because you're what you're advocating for is lesser of two evilism.
Basically, yeah.
It's like, yeah, Joe Biden is a corporatist piece of shit, sold out politician, but he's less of a fucking threat than the conservative version of him. So
harm reduction.
Yeah.
Harm reduction vote, lesser of two evilism.
Yeah.
So I wanted to like present some things that lesser of two evilism has bought the American people.
Sure.
Now, the flaw of the things I'm about to show you is that the most updated information that I have in this document stops in 2018.
Sure. Well,
so it doesn't include the current day COVID stuff, but it does, I believe, illustrate a trend that remains true.
Well, it takes a long time to measure a lot of these things. So, 2018 is pretty recent, if we're being honest.
You can see at the top here, it was uploaded in 2018 and it was updated a couple of times since then, but not since 2018. Okay.
Gotcha.
So this is a graph showing U.S. manufacturing and the number of people employed in the United States by manufacturing. You can see at one point it was most people. And now it's, dropping down closer to 50% of what it was. Mm-hmm. But manufacturing output has increased.
Right. 250 automation and stuff, right?
Right. Percent. So
does that include
not only automation, but the outsourcing of jobs from?
Well, that says U.S. manufacturing, so I assume that must just mean the manufacturing that's happening in this country.
Exactly. So it actually is also including the outsourcing of a lot of these factory jobs from the U.S. to foreign countries.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's what lesser of two evilism has bought us. Let's let me scroll through here and get to our next. I'll give you the link to this because it's actually a really interesting read. You can see
there's lots of
a
links
list of
and stuff,
news articles and graphs and stuff.
Yeah.
Effective federal funds rate.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see going back to 1988.
Yeah.
It's basically
like in the doldrums.
It's flatlined. Here's an interesting one.
Oh, this is stock
market
buybacks.
So this is the stock market's rise up through 2016, coupled with buybacks, which are when a corporation purchases its own stock, usually to inflate the price of said stock.
Right.
And you can see, correlation does not equal causation, but these lines are awfully close to one another.
No, I think everyone at this point who knows even like a rudimentary thing about stocks knows that these companies are propping up their own shares with buybacks.
I like these articles here. The Real Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, the guy that basically ran a criminal enterprise on Wall Street that was pseudo legal.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Stratton Oakmont, remember that?
Yeah, Stratton Oakmont. The lessons of the crash have been forgotten. He's saying just openly.
I don't know that they were ever learned. We didn't even have a proper reaction to it.
Here's Bill Gates, and say what you want about Bill Gates, but he prognosticated this fucking outbreak a long time ago. And here's Bill Gates saying we're on the precipice of another financial crisis.
I think we're in the midst of it. I think COVID kicked it off, but yeah. The idea that the economy, this fucking idea that with the massive unemployment going on in this country right now, that stocks are going strong is fucking absurd.
Right. There's a small section here that talks about the poverty reduction lie that's often told by people like Steven Pinker, who say that the world is constantly getting better. That may or may not be true.
Well, he said it was getting less violent. I don't know what he had to say specifically about poverty.
Well, that's all wrapped into poverty. Poverty and violence go hand in hand, and statisticians know that.
Mm-hmm.
Real median household income in the United States
looks like it's been plummeting since 2000,
declining since 2005, basically, or 2007,
somewhere around. It looks like it never really recovered after the 2008 crash. Is what it looks like there.
After 2008. And what's interesting enough, too, is that these graphs are even though you're seeing that and saying it's the median, you have to factor in, you're still including a lot of really rich households. So overall, people are just getting poor at a massive rate.
Average household income before taxes, change in share of income versus
the top 1%, man, they're doing great.
Top 1% is doing great, and everybody
else is
pretty much flat. The
flat.
Top 20% is visible there in the first graph. The rest of us, the bottom 20.
Yeah, we're pretty much all just like stuck at the bottom there.
10, 5, and 1% are basically just a rainbow puddle at the bottom of these graphs.
We're just garbage at the fucking bottom. Yeah.
Here you go. This one's really interesting.
Tale of two countries. The share of U.S. pre-tax income accruing to the bottom 50% and the top 1% of income earners from 1962 to 2014. And you see where those cross.
1990, 91.
Yep.
Somewhere
in the Clinton years, we crossed paths. And
then it just kept declining. And look at the meteoric rise of the billionaire class.
The rich get richer, the poor get poorer.
And by the way, this is the class of people on the orange line in this graph are the class of people that own Joe Biden and candidates like him
and Donald Trump. And the entire political process.
Educated workers, declining wages. So going to college isn't good enough anymore.
And that last graph you looked at too didn't even cover the fact of. I mean, we're talking about this just your income. This isn't talking about like capital gains.
This is pre-tax income, right?
Yeah, this isn't even talking about your stock portfolio or anything else like that. So it's like not only are they getting more income. I mean, these are people that control the stock market and all the credit markets. So that's pretty insane.
This is an interesting one because I've been talking about union membership. This, once again, correlation does not necessarily equal causation, but here you can see the blue line is union membership in the United States starting in 1917, peaking in probably 1950, 1960, slowly declining. And as it declines, the top 10% share of the income has risen 47.2%.
Right, because when you're talking about the death of collective bargaining as well.
Union membership has fallen from its peak at what it looks about 35% of people in the country to about 11% of people in the country.
Yeah, now you basically got 1 in 10 in unions, and a lot of that's teachers unions.
Once again,
and police
purchased by our constant lesser of two evilism votes, because there's a lot of liberal presidents along this chain.
Oh yeah,
that helped to weaken unions and bring it to this low state, and it's worse now. This graph stops in 2014. Yeah. There's been 6 years more. Top 1% income share and political polarization. This is just showing the correlation. And this is another thing I disagree with Vosh about. As political polarization in our government and in people's sentiment rises, the top 1%'s share of the income rises.
Yeah.
So the more we squabble, not only with people who are ideologically opposed to us, but the more we polarize ourselves against one another and fight fucking like-minded leftists on most things, the more fucking money rich people get. Lesser of two evilism has purchased this for us.
Yeah, and by the way, U.S. union workers, the most recent year I can find statistics for is 2018, which is about 4 years later, and it's down to 10.5 as of that, so it might be down to 10% or lower by now.
Eventually, this moves on to the ecological collapse. I mean, here's one through 2016. We actually covered this recently on a show, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
We covered the I think New York City has an astonishingly high number of the United States homeless population. I think it was like 14%. I could be wrong. That should probably be looked up, but yeah, I mean, the homelessness problem.
You can see here the trend.
I mean, you can see that when you have the bottom 50% perpetually losing ground, I mean, obviously you're going to see homelessness on the rise as well.
Starting right around the millennium, we get this meteoric rise in the amount of people in shelters. It flattens off for a little while, but the trend never stops going up. And now, as of the 2016 end date of this, there were 62,692 people.
Yeah,
well,
January 2017.
That's not even the total number of homeless people. That's just the number sleeping in the shelters.
And we talked about just the fact that police and the criminalization of homelessness and how that lead and all the destructive factors it has on a community. And you see here, it's so damaging to New York. At the same time, it's like, oh well, things are getting better there. The crime rate is lower, but at the same time, we're seeing more and more homeless people. By the way,
a lot of corporatist liberal candidates along this line here that coincide with a lot of these fucking upticks in homelessness.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think we
had Rudy Giuliani for a good amount of that too. So
here's an interesting one:
percentage of children in poverty, 2000 to 2014.
Wow. So in 2000, there were only 2 states that were below 10% child poverty rates. And by 2014, and you can imagine these numbers have gotten worse since then. But once again, these things take a long time to study and collate.
Yeah.
But as of 2014, there was not a state in the union that was under 10% child poverty rate in this country. And as you can see, broad swath, 20%, 25%, 27% here in Louisiana.
Hey guys, don't we have more billionaires in our country now than ever?
Yep.
Is that a fact?
Oh, we absolutely do.
Crazy, but hey, you know what? It's all right.
I like this little meme.
So for 20, clean your plate, young man. There are starving children in America. So for the overall homeless population in 2019, according to, I don't know where this is from. This is HUD.
Yep.
Okay. According to HUD, there were 567,715 homeless people in experienced homelessness last year.
Yeah,
which is not the worst it's been, but
right, it's fucking horrible,
but it's not good. We're talking about like 500,000 homeless people.
This that I have up on the screen here is what I consider to be one of the more damning charts.
Social mobility is lower in more unequal countries.
So you can see here we have income inequality from low to high on the bottom part of this graph, and we have social mobility on the right.
Right, and the U.S. is among the lowest.
All the more socially mobile countries also have a low instance of income equality, and as social mobility decreases, so does income inequality. And guess who's at the very bottom of this list of countries?
Proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm broke.
Extraordinarily high income inequality and extraordinarily low social mobility.
Right.
And this, by the way, I want to remind you, TJ, purchased for us by constant lesser of two evilism voting amongst liberals.
You know what, Paul? I think you're just being deceived. That's some UK site. It's the land of the free, home of the brave. This is where the American dream lives, Paul. You're just wrong about that, my friend. You're wrong.
I mean, I think he's getting into the debt section now. I'll just scroll through some of this, and if you see something that looks interesting to you, this
percentage of young adults living with parents. That doesn't. It doesn't surprise me to see that on the rise.
So 1980. Oh shit, dude.
I mean, but this starts at 18. So in 1980, of course, most 18-year-olds are still living with mom and dad, right? But this goes through 19. You can see that it's the trend already has started. And continuing down through 40, it's absurd how many 40-year-olds there are currently living.
Yeah, nearly 10% of 40-year-olds still living with their parents.
Yep. And 36-year-olds, over 10%. 12% of 36-year-olds in this country still live with mom and dad.
Hell, it's between, I mean, by 29 years old, more than 20% are still living at home.
Yep.
By the time that they're on the verge of 30.
In comparison to the fact that by 29 in 1980, less than 10% of people were still living at home.
Right.
Insane.
That's just economic. I mean, that's just economic fucking necessity for a lot of those people. And then you got people like Stevie. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck happened there.
Oh, this one's kind of fun for the people that advocate voting.
Hackers breached dozens of voting machines brought to conference. I mean, yeah, they're fucking super easy to hack.
Russians compromised election systems in 7 states. Russian hacking efforts, how our fucking, we don't even really know the full extent of the compromise, how compromised our election was in 2016. We just know that it was. 59% of Americans consider this the lowest point in history as of 2017.
I think that those are pretty ahistorical Americans because we've literally fucking fought a civil war in this country, so I think that was probably a lower point than anything we got going on right now.
That's people responding to basically the election of Trump. They're like, I'm really sad what the direction the country's headed. So
I mean, it's hyperbolic because I mean, like this country literally was like we were murdering each other. This is our military budget, right?
Here is a chart showing our military spending versus the rest of the world.
The funny thing is, I didn't even need to see the title of that chart to know exactly what the fuck it was.
By the way, purchased for us by lesser of two evilism, voting for neoliberal, corporatist, centrist candidates.
And the corporate media totally props that shit up.
Here you go. Here's an ocean of here's a graph that's sobering to look at.
The debt, right?
Yeah. This is in trillions of dollars, the gross federal debt from 1940 through 2018.
It looks like it's under control. We're good.
We're fine.
At first, I was like, "Is that a coronavirus chart?" Oh wait, it's just the debt chart. Never mind.
Here's America's finances versus its debt. So you can see
Revenue.
Reagan inherited a deficit, but it just has .com surplus.
Yeah, is that little blue sliver? Thank God for that.
That actually has nothing to do with the debt.
Yeah,
that had to do with the fact that for a brief moment during the Clinton presidency, you can see revenue rose above the national deficit.
Yeah.
So we were no longer spending more than we were bringing in for a brief moment here.
Yeah, but then we
also
compensated by
accrued,
spending more. So
during the Clinton years, which you can see from here to here, we accrued a ton of debt. Here's another ocean of debt. These are, by the way, fiscal conservatives.
Yep.
Obama didn't help.
Well, Bush's tax cuts fucking just spiraled the debt even further.
This doesn't show the Trump years, so you can imagine that
it does. There's no change. It just continues to go the same direction.
Here's the GDP minus the federal debt.
And obviously because of the coronavirus, it's gone even much higher. This
is a different graph now, but shows the trend.
Let's see. What's our current national debt? Here's a fun thing. U.S. national debt currently at 26 trillion. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So here's a map that we're not the top of. How do you guys like that?
Debt of nations. General government gross debt as a share of gross domestic product.
So Japan actually worse than us. Greece, Italy, Portugal. We're on the map. But there's a few places on the planet that are doing worse than us in this.
Cool. U.S. unfunded liabilities national debt 2000 to 2016. Unfunded liabilities national debt. I don't really know what that means.
I mean, it's just another way of looking at the national debt. These two bars are structurally the same. This bar denotes actual debt that's owed, and this bar here it represents things that we've borrowed against that haven't happened yet,
or promises like Medicare,
right.
Medicaid,
gotcha.
Government spending that's going to happen eventually,
right? Different takeoff, same trajectory. So, stock of debt across non-financial sectors versus GDP and local currency.
Yeah,
you can see
pretty much all nations on
credit debt rising, GDP rising slightly in some euro areas, but not rising anywhere near the rate of debt.
I mean, look at China. I mean, and Brazil, it's like shooting up. So, but the levels of debt are rising way quicker than the GDP is growing for a
if you want to see
nation.
Yeah,
I mean, China is using the American-made idea of just using cheap money to fund everything.
Yeah.
So it's like they go out, they get these cheap-ass fucking loans. Instead of paying them back, they bundle them up into a bunch of loans and sell them on the stock market. Up it goes, up it goes, up it goes, borrow, borrow, borrow. And then they're also having an explosion in fucking wealthy citizens and shit. So a lot of this credit is represented by the people in the nation taking out loans to buy houses and cars and to fund their schooling in other countries and yada, yada, yada.
Basically the looming debt bubble.
Yep. Right. Total global credit market debt owed. This one's a little harder for me to read, so fuck it.
These are bankruptcies. Chapter 11 is
so these are corporate bankruptcies.
Yeah, you can see some of the name brands.
Oh, and this year, I mean, because of obviously COVID,
it's gonna be worse.
A lot of businesses are going out of fucking. A lot of companies are just failing because they don't have the fucking clientele.
Old Town Country Buffet
would be interesting to look at with more current numbers for sure, but you can see the trend.
You guys seen that Old Town Country Buffet shit?
What?
That training video that's been circulating around?
No, I have not seen it.
It's pretty funny. Let's see. Charts. So we have tuition versus other price indices.
So
CPI.
This is the cost of going to school versus other things. I mean, you can see healthcare is a major problem, but college beats them all. It has become so prohibitively expensive to attend college in comparison with 1990.
Well, think about this too. It's been drilled into kids' heads. You have to go to college. This is your only path forward of any success is you must go to college. So the demand for college is super high. And as we see here from 1990 to what about 2013, the cumulative percentage increase is nearly 300%. That's fucking ridiculous. No, I mean, who can afford this shit?
Nobody.
Who the fuck can afford this stuff anymore? That's why they go massively into debt. Right. It's just
the
wonderful.
infrastructure is terrible.
The U.S. infrastructure report card D+.
Pretty generous.
And fucking dude, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but John Oliver did a thing on infrastructure like a couple of years ago. I mean, it was actually more than that, maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
I saw Vice did a really good thing on it too.
And it was John Boehner was the Speaker of the House, and it's like, oh, we're looking for funding for that. And they showed for 2 years he had been saying that. Oh, we're looking for funding. Oh, well, how are they going to fund the infrastructure? And there's all these different ideas. Remember, Trump came into office. We're going to have the best infrastructure. They have not spent shit on this goddamn country. Like,
there's constant talk.
We're a joke.
Infrastructure is kind of it's just like the buck is perpetually passed on it. It's going to just take like. We're gonna have to like get to a point where like bridges and dams are just like failing on the regular before there's any actual effort to fix the fucking infrastructure.
This is talking about peak oil.
Yeah.
So this is oil discoveries at their lowest point since 1947.
Right. But does this does this take into account like fracking and shit though? Because
this is just talking about
discoveries.
Oil.
Right.
So I don't know that it's taking into account natural gas. It's talking about oil.
Right.
Fracking is natural gas.
Yeah.
Well, no, you can get oil.
But you can get oil.
You can.
Yeah, you can derive oil from it. So I
thought it was mostly natural gas.
It is, but you can derive oil from
it. There's all kinds of shit you can get with fracking.
It's all kinds. Yeah, I think it's like. I mean, like I don't, there's obviously a lot of negative effects.
Looking at discoveries, that's like major new like sources of oil,
right?
Yeah, I mean, oil is a limited.
Oh shit, we're not finding any anymore.
I mean, I just don't know how anyone's surprised. Like, hey, this finite resource is like running out. It's like, yeah, it's a finite resource.
But everything's built around that, TJ. So no one wants to change it suddenly because like, oh, we have so much money invested. You know how it is. It's like
I don't know. It's just the stubbornness of humanity. So
we're starting to move into the climate area of this.
Right. Which is,
but I think it's still fucking
even more, probably even more disastrous than the economic shit. Because
this is the real.
Ostensibly, we could fiddle around with the economy to try to fucking fix some shit, but once we fuck the climate, there's not much we can really fucking do.
This is in 2013. By the way, there have been so many fucking wildfires since 2013. It's not even.
I mean, I'm sure this has skyrocketed even fucking so far beyond. What we're
look at
here.
Australia, dude. Like it was a major news story for like.
I'm gonna see if I can find.
You're on fire.
I'm gonna see if I can find up to 2020 on that. I'm just looking to see if I can find a chart of wildfires up till today.
Oh, dude, California had some crazy-ass ones. The ones in Australia, I mean, we're having so many across the planet. And look, they occur naturally. It's not like it's unheard of to have them, but it's like the amount and the frequency, it just seems has increased.
Brought to you by lesser of two evilism liberal voting, the United States.
Oh, dude, we have to do an episode on mass incarceration because I'll tell you what, looking into it is just, there's so many facets to it and so many factors.
Winning the gold medal for most of its citizens held in cages, it's the United States of America.
I mean, I will say this. I think we've made at least some attempts at reform. I don't think it's gone anywhere near far enough, but that at least that's one of the few things Trump's actually signed a law about.
So this is actually a really old graph. It stops in 2012. If you took into account the rise of the alt-right in 2014, 15, 16, 17.
I'm sure that one's another one that's just skyrocketed since.
Mass shootings. I mean, what more can you say?
A ratio of number of deaths by police shooting to percentage U.S. population adjusted by poverty level.
Pretty even between black and whites, although... Of course, this is adjusted by poverty level, not percentage of the population.
Right.
Pretty even for Hispanics and Native Americans. Less likely
and
for
Asians just don't shoot each other.
I mean, that's not true.
U.S. suicide interest. I'm sure this was up to 2017, so.
Right.
Yeah. I think the suicide rate's risen though with COVID and other shit. So, obviously COVID's thrown all the. I mean, COVID's only exacerbated these issues. I think we can just make that assumption across the board.
Midlife mortality from deaths of despair across countries.
Is that red line us? Is that where we are? Yeah. Oh,
that's white non-Hispanics in the United States.
This is men and women aged 50 to 54, and the deaths are by drugs, alcohol, and suicide, and it's tracking that across countries. And the red line is the United States.
Hey, Germany's been doing well. National overdose deaths.
Once again, this is only tracking through 2015. Fentanyl has become a huge thing in the ensuing years, so this is the trend. Not only continues but skyrockets.
Yeah, I think last numbers I looked at, it was like 58,000 deaths.
So that's a
like that.
Life expectancy is dropping. This is as of 2016, and this has actually continued as well.
Yeah, let's see. What is our life expectancy now? I'll look that up.
See if we can get those numbers anymore.
Okay. Yeah, we went up slightly. So we're at 78.93 for 2020.
This is Mexico to U.S. illegal border crossings.
So this is showing.
Paul, it's actually a news story. It's in the New York Times. American life expectancy rises for the first time in 4 years.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Well, there you go. I wonder if that takes into account COVID.
Probably not.
I wonder if that's COVID updated.
It was written in January 30th, 2020.
Global deaths from terrorism up.
Well, of course.
Democracy continues its disturbing retreat. More than half. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
More than half the countries in the latest update of a Democratic Health Index saw their scores decline. I'm sure our score is not doing too great.
This is a pretty interesting story that you can read. I've read most of the stories, supporting stories in this as I've gone through it.
Why Silicon Valley billionaires are prepping for the apocalypse in New Zealand. Yeah, we've actually covered some of that.
Yeah, we covered it. So it's an older story that caught it earlier. This is from 2018.
Yeah, but I mean, we've heard different stories about them.
Assets and starting to buy land and property up in New Zealand and shit.
And remember the dumb shit couldn't remember his fucking Volt code.
TJ will like this one. I don't necessarily think that we're. I'm not a huge subscriber to the fact that there's a real population crisis. I think the crisis is distribution of resources and hoarding of capital. But
I think that it becomes, when your population is out of control like it is, I think it becomes harder to distribute resources evenly, especially when you're talking about finite resources. Like, a lot of the reason that we're running out of oil is because there's simply too many people using it.
Right.
Now, I don't think that we should be using fossil fuels at this point.
You can see these are projected numbers at the time that this was made through 2050, and this is saying that we're going to be approaching 10 billion people by 2050.
Which I think is pretty close to some of the estimates I've seen of like peak human, like how many this was sustainable.
Sure.
Now, if I'm gonna go by the science here, and then there's different predictions based on different models and shit, but peak, what was it called?
So yeah, I've kind of gone through my list of charts and shit. But anyway, you wanted to talk about
peak human condition. Hold on. No, that's not what I want. How many humans can Earth sustain? And I like E.O. Wilson's take on this, so I'll go with that. E.O.
Wilson, dude.
Owen Wilson? Crazy.
Owen Wilson?
Owen Wilson's take on overpopulation. All right, I'm willing to hear it.
Damn, yeah, I'm willing to hear out Owen Wilson.
I can usually find this pretty quick, but for some reason,
if he gives me a fat joint to smoke with him, I'll listen to his shit.
Like I didn't mean to barrage you with news stories. I mean, to account for all of that, but I just think I'm not going to run from reality or something. No. That to me is partially, at least, blamable.
No, I see the point. I mean, look,
lesser of two evilism and the corporatists that we've elected over and over.
I don't even deny that. Let me see. Hold on one second. Many scientists think Earth has a maximum carrying capacity of 9 billion to 10 billion people.
Shit.
One such scientist, the eminent Harvard University sociologist Edward O. Wilson, bases his estimates on the calculations of Earth's available resources. As Wilson pointed out in his book, The Future of Life, the constraints of the biosphere are fixed. Aside from the limited availability of fresh water, I think E.O. Wilson actually puts it around. Oh, he puts it at 10 billion as well. But some go as low as 9, and I think some are a little bit more optimistic as well. But most of them put it around there. So I mean, like if we're heading there by 2050, that's not a great sign. Maybe the scientists are wrong, or maybe some new technologies come along that are going to make it a little better. But, I don't know.
It seems like the universe has a way of balancing these things out, TJ.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really seem like anything's in balance. I think balance is kind of an illusory concept that human beings kind of fixate on because it appeals to us psychologically. I think that's how you get these faulty ideas like karma, which we just saw. We were shooting an episode the other day where we were talking about like this Nazi that fucking killed 100 million people or 100,000 people, sorry. And then he lived a happy life in Chile and fucking died old and happy and fat. And I think that, but that's, people want this idea of balance. Like, oh, if you're bad, something bad's going to happen to you. If you're good things will happen to you. And there's just a million things refuting that. And I think it's the same with the environmental shit. I'd like people think, oh, it's going to come into balance. It's going to come into balance. Like it's not going to come into balance, just because you like the idea of balance psychologically.
I meant it more in respect to the fact that when things just won't work at that level anymore with that many people, they're just going to die. And a lot of people, and it's just going to be massive starvation. It's just going to be the collapse of
balance,
society.
though. That's just death. I mean, like there was a experiment
but eventually you will reach probably a number of humans the planet can sustain at that point. So there will be a balance.
I don't know because there was
of resources and animals that it can support.
There was an experiment with a guy who he basically created a rat utopia. I forget the name of the scientist, but he did a lot of experiments with rats that were kind of like tailored towards looking at overpopulation.
I think this is in the Lucifer Principle, isn't it?
It might be. I don't know.
I think it is.
But this guy, he created like this rat utopia. And he's like, endless resources, endless food, just whatever you rats need to survive. And, the rats were happy up to a point. But, eventually they started behaving very strangely. And before too long, their entire society had collapsed and all of them died. They basically all ripped each other apart and stuff.
Of like, I need to do stuff. I need this impetus, this drive for life. But when they had all that given to them, they were just like, oh.
Well, I forget exactly how their society broke down. I think there was like a bunch of renegade rats who started killing other rats and stuff. And
I know a little bit about this because it's a fascinating thing, and I just recently watched a whole thing on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the rats, some of the rats became very sexually aggressive. The male rats became sexually aggressive and started basically like cordoning off certain female rats who became totally submissive, like sex slaves to them. And they basically killed them eventually.
Yeah.
And ate them. They were just too aggressive.
I guess this was called the behavioral sink.
This whole other society of rats he called the beautiful ones retreated to the higher nests.
Mm-hmm.
And just like refused to do anything.
Yeah, basically became like the 1%.
Yeah, they just like kind of sat up in the higher nests and they just groomed each other and they ate the food and they didn't have sex. They didn't reproduce. They just, sat up and just groomed each other and became fat and opulent up top. And everybody else basically succumbed to the violent ones. Like there was another group of rats that started off way more normal, but that became more violent in response to the super hyper aggressive testosterone rats. And they just basically killed each other. And then the beautiful ones just died.
Right. And I think they said
fat and happy.
And the guy who conducted the experiments was ethologist John B. Calhoun. And the infant mortality rate ran as high as 96% among the most disoriented groups in the population. So this was not. There was no this didn't reach a point of like collapse and then restore to balance. It just collapsed into fucking shit.
It became unsustainable. None of them could feed each other. None of them could take care of their young. They weren't producing young in a lot of cases anymore.
Yeah.
And the whole society just basically died horribly.
You could argue that
number of these.
You could argue that, you could argue that something that happened in rats is not necessarily going to happen in humans because obviously they're different species.
It's behavioral, like
stuff. But
there's a lot of rat in our brain. We share a common ancestor, and the development of our brain runs along the same track as the development of a rat brain for a long fucking time. So looking at other mammals and how they react in different societal conditions may not be totally prescriptive to the human race, but it's definitely something we should take note of.
Sure.
These animals are more similar to us than we like to think.
But I'm sorry, I'm running kind of far afield of the point you were trying to make at this point. And I agree that anybody who puts their faith in electoral politics and thinks that the lesser of two evils vote is going to meaningfully change any of that is wrong.
Well, but don't you think the problem is that I think that you rapidly approaching unsustainability and it's not being addressed at all?
No, yeah, I mean you're absolutely right. But that's the whole point of a harm reduction vote is not let's vote for the lesser of two evils and then everything will be fine. It's like let's buy ourselves enough time to actually hopefully try to find the solutions to these problems.
But do you think?
I mean, that's what it's always been. The lesser of two evils vote was the same thing in the 90s. The same. Well,
thing obviously, our generation is going to have to do a little better, or a lot better, or figure something out because otherwise we're just going to be doomed and we're going to collapse.
I mean, yeah, we're rapidly running out of time and rapidly run out of. And I think some of the estimates.
When I look at
some of these estimates, TJ, I think that they're actually woefully.
I mean, when I look at the amount of people out there that still don't even recognize the severity of the problem that's going on, that are living in a fucking bubble of ignorance, I don't think there's any hope. But if there is to be any hope, we're going to have to buy as much fucking time as we possibly can.
I actually had one more article I wanted to share with you guys real quick that's actually kind of eerie.
Yeah.
It's like the action movie scene. Give me 10 minutes, maybe,
if you can put another 2 minutes, if you can put another 2 minutes or so on the timer, I don't know.
TJ, that's why I'm not optimistic.
I'm not optimistic either.
80s or 90s action movie fucking somehow impossible thing that's pulled off. We convince all the dum-dums to go along with us. I don't know if we can do it.
The only thing historically that's curbed inequality, catastrophe. Well, good news for us then. There's a silver lining because we are mired in catastrophe.
This is an Atlantic article from 2017.
Sure.
Talking about how plagues, revolutions, massive wars, and collapsed states, these are what reliably reduce economic disparity.
Oh, well, then in that case, then we're on the path to equality then.
So you can still find this if you're interested. I'm not going to read the whole fucking article, but I just thought that the headline and insinuations made by this article were particularly kind of chilling to read now, but also kind of hopeful. It's like, okay. So some of this shit is happening now.
The condition we're amidst the conditions. So
yeah. So maybe the government will be forced to establish a UBI or some shit because of this.
We'll see.
What's crazy is when you have that position is that someone thinks that means you're like, oh, I want everyone to suffer and I want everyone to die and be miserable and living in like the Fallout world, scavenging scraps to fucking make bread or whatever. That's not fucking what people are saying. They're saying that you have to have a major social upheaval. You have to fucking just break the wheel that everyone's running on, like those fucking dumb little rats, and say, okay, here's maybe the new wheel. And maybe the new wheel is just marginally better. But that's the only way human civilization is going to make progress is by making fundamental changes. And if you don't do that,
notice voting is not mentioned at all. Look, I'm not trying to denigrate people that have decided to vote. Go vote if that's what your conscience tells you what to do. What really bothers me at the end of the day, TJ, is the amount of time that guys like you and Vosh, smart dudes with good political voices, spend having to make apologetics for a corporatist that is not going to address any of the things that I just fucking showed you.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't spend too much time on
income. There's no indication that Joe Biden is going to be the one that reverses that graph.
No, I mean,
I will say,
anyone who proposed that Joe Biden is any sort of solution to any of those problems, I would say is being silly. So.
Those problems I see as unaddressed, and we can no longer not address them.
I mean, I don't know if they're even addressable through the mechanism of electoral politics.
Let me ask you this: do you mean addressed as in spoken about, or actually substantive actions?
So the latter.
I mean,
okay,
both.
Joe Biden has paid lip service. Like, we need to do a Green New Deal and shit. I mean, he said some
whatever.
things.
Look, as far as electoral politics goes, I think that through the electoral mechanisms, you can address some of those things potentially. I don't think you're going to do it with a candidate like Joe Biden, but
if Joe Biden is elected and gets the Green New Deal passed, if it is not a totally neutered, totally ineffective fucking shadow of its former self, I will eat a shoe here on the show.
You're gonna.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you.
I don't.
Because that'd
you're
be
not
so
be,
astonishing to be worth eating.
I always promise this shoe eating thing, but you guys will notice I've never eaten a shoe.
Yeah, I don't think you will be either.
If you are, you know what? It's worth it. It's fucking worth it, Paul. If you have to eat a shoe, if that was the price, it was like, you know what? Paul eats his fucking
let me ask you
on his feet right now. We get the Green New Deal.
Let me ask you. Oh, hold on.
I told him that I would eat a shoe.
Let's wrap this up with an interesting thought experiment.
Let's what?
Let's wrap this up with an interesting thought experiment here.
Okay, let's.
Because we got about, we're almost at the 2.5 hour mark. I think we're good here, but I do want to ask, what is the best accomplishment that you could realistically see Joe Biden actually fucking doing?
I think I was just talking about it, honestly. I've thought about this, actually. I think getting a piss poor, watered down Green New Deal passed is probably going to be the best legacy you're going to get out of Joe Biden. And there's a chance that never even takes shape. But a piss poor, watered down Green New Deal that reappropriates a little bit of funding to like windmills or something.
Basically like the ACA of environmental legislation.
Or the Obamacare
that's
medical legislation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, a total gift to corporations and shit. A total gift to his green donors and shit. But ultimately doing nothing to combat the tidal wave of horrible death that's coming at us in climate change. You know what I mean?
How about you, Scotty?
I think that would be the best. Now, there's an offhanded chance that something else happens too.
Oh, okay.
But I literally do not think it's going to be as a result of Joe Biden. I think it's going to be a result of a breakdown in the fabric of society. I think that there's a good chance that either Trump or Biden is going to be basically forced at gunpoint to pass a UBI legislation in this country. Okay. Because I when I look at the graph in terms of Corona and its impact on the economy, now all of these states that opened are slowly doing this like sad, like beaten dog shuffle back towards stay-at-home orders. They're like, better wear masks again. All right, we're going to have to ban gatherings of more than 10 people again. Like Texas is slowly but surely going, and California is doing the same thing. We better fucking close everything again. Oh, we got to close bars again, guys. Sorry. They just need to admit that everybody needs to go be in their fucking homes again for 3 or 4 months and be honest with the American people about what has to be done to beat this. But when that happens, they're going to have to come up with a way to fund it.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility that
I've seen a lot of people losing their houses because of rent and shit too. So
it's been said, and it's really the fucking failing of having a fucking weak federal government that all these fucking Republicans and conservatives have espoused for years. Oh, we this limited government, limit, and now we have a completely unprepared CDC.
And there are people that say that Trump would never do this, and that's why we should go vote Biden. Bullshit. Dude, if this was sold to Trump in the right way, Trump, you're going to be the savior of America. You are going to you're going to be the new FDR. You know how he was remembered for saving America during the Great Depression? Well, you're going to do the same thing, Mr. Trump. We're going to call it Trump Care, and it's going to include a basic income for people, and it's going to include basic access to medical care and an increase in funding so that we don't have one of these COVID plannings again. It's going to be one of the biggest bills ever, and it's going to be bipartisan support, Mr. President, and you're going to be the hero. You're going to get to sign it. We're going to have a signing ceremony for you, Mr. President. That's going to be a military parade, Mr. President, with tanks and marching soldiers with guns. In your honor, sir, as you sign it, the guns are all going to be fired at once, and the world's biggest 21 gun salute. But it's going to be a 21,000 gun salute for you, Mr. President. It's going to shake the foundations of Washington, D.C. He'll fucking sign it. Like the people that think that Trump isn't going to do this wild, fucking crazy liberal thing, they don't understand the Trump mind at this point.
Paul, you almost had me. If I was Trump, I'd been like, you know what? You fucking missed on? No flyover, dude.
Oh, sorry. The Blue Angels. Not only the Blue Angels, but the entire U.S. military force of jet fighters are going to simultaneously and in a formation shaped like your face, Mr. Trump, fly not only over Washington, D.C., but over the entire eastern seaboard before they go back and land on a carrier, Mr. Trump.
Amazing.
It is going to be the craziest shit you've ever seen.
Sold.
All right, Scotty.
They're all going to have red, white, and blue streamers coming out the back of them, too, of course.
Scotty, same question to you. What is there anything that realistically you could see Joe Biden accomplishing that would actually do any sort of good tangibly? That you think he might actually possibly do, even if it's an outside chance that you like. Anything that you view as in the realm of possibility for a Joe Biden administration.
Joe Biden somehow has a competent administration. He gets like the right Congress, and he's able to pass laws and things that overall lead it so the next administration or people to come after are in a better position. Like, and as sad as it is to say now, that's like people going back to like, at this point, realistically, people can expect maybe a return to something like pre-2008 recession. That'd be like the ideal for most people at this point. Like people thinking like ascendancy, that's probably a pipe dream for a 4-year administration, but like heading in that direction, and a number of policies that we were talking about, the Green New Deal would have a number of jobs. A UBI would support a lot of people, lift a lot of people out of poverty. I mean, things like that. Like basically, if you invest in like the social well-being of the American society, you would see a number of results. And I mean, and part of that is the environment, and part of that is, you know, just people's basic healthcare needs, people's basic needs to live. I mean, we have so many crises that are affecting basically the bottom 50% of this country that if nothing is done about it, I don't see how the social fabric of society can exist.
I feel like you guys are weirdly actually kind of more optimistic about what Joe Biden could accomplish than I am. I view it as like, I think the best Joe Biden could really do is just not be as horrible. I don't think we're talking about I don't even think we're talking about anything getting better. I think we're just talking about a slowdown of things getting worse in some ways.
I just reject the assertion that Trump would never do that. If it was presented to him in the right way and things were bad enough out on the fucking streets and there was no solution.
Oh yeah, I could see Trump doing the UBI.
He would do it.
I don't think you're wrong.
He would do it.
All right. Well, we're at about 2.5 hours now.
Biden for that is fucking silly. I think he's just as likely probably to do it as Biden will be.
We're at about 2.5 hours now.
All right.
I think it's probably about time to wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. We love each and every one of you except for you.
Oh, no. Hold on. That's a Bantersode, gentlemen.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.
I'm so happy 'cause today I subscribed on Patreon. I'm so happy 'cause today the content's mine, all mine. Plebs are stinky, yes they are, they smell like poo, they sure do. I'm so hungry, that's a